Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in. It is the second round of the 2023 RaceFactory Gaming National Championship live here on Start Your Systems. My name is Kellen Brower, and I am so glad to bring you guys the action tonight from Hangtown. We are in Northern California this week after being in Southern California last week for a fun night of racing in MX Simulator. But before we start here tonight, we do have a quick little, breaking news to bring to you guys. You may have noticed that the name of the broadcast this week and the way I introduced it this week is a little bit different. And that is because, unfortunately, the two partners that were associated together in terms of a promotional entity for this series, RaceFactory Gaming and Init Esports, have decided to cut ties. So we are back to just RaceFactory Gaming only nationals, and this is only going to be on the Start Your Systems YouTube from here on out. So a little bit of change there, but I did want to, before we start here tonight, just bring up this quick statement from Jeremy Konauer about the breakup of the two entities, basically, and says that it is with regret that we announce the termination of the partnership between RaceFactory Gaming and Init Esports. This decision marks the end of our collaboration and signifies that the series will no longer be sanctioned by the AMA. RF and Init have enjoyed a great partnership over this past year, but ultimately our creative differences have led us to part ways. We would like to express our gratitude to Init Esports for their contributions and support of our race series throughout the last year of racing, and we wish them the best of luck moving forward. As for us, we are extremely excited for what is in store for the future of RaceFactory and our future series. So, just a quick little, tidbit to start off the night here about the breaking up of Init and RaceFactory, but they're still obviously thriving in their own respective ways, and now it's simply just the RaceFactory Gaming Nationals moving forward. So let's talk about Hangtown here, and let's move right into our qualifying times to start off here tonight. 450 qualifying. A familiar face, but a little bit of a surprise, I guess, at the top of this sheet here is Trevor Burns with a 2:05.609. He is a second and a half almost faster than anybody else, including Payson Johnson, Alexis Leclerc, and Walter Gebhardt, who are three riders who definitely know their way around a racetrack. Pablo Vial, Colby Eaglin, Braden Carter, Cooper Hunt, Enzo Buttigni, and Ethan Gerst inside of the top 10. I think we're going to have another consolation race this week. It does appear that we're going to have more than enough guys in this division. So fun to see that. But yeah, Burnsley with a really, really good start to his evening here tonight with a great qualifying time there. Let's take a look at 250 Motocross. Seth Shirley, our championship leader, coming in after winning the opening round, 2:08.554 for the fastest time there. And then reigning champion Logan Lights on a 2:09 flat right behind him, 2:09. All the way down to Matthias Janis in 7th, and then 2:10, 2:11s behind that. So pretty close mix-up at the front. Going to be another fun night of battling in that 250 division, which, again, I think we will see consies for, but we'll get there when it's time. So here's the standings rolling into this week after just one round of racing last week. Of course, Seth Shirley with the win last week rolls into this with a 4-point advantage over Tharp, 5-point over Leitzel, and starting to open up a little bit of a gap on everybody else, but there's every chance that the guys that you see 4 on back could have a great week this week, whereas some of our top guys have rough weeks and turn it around quite quickly. So we'll see how things shake down moving into the middle part of this championship, but right now it's still fresh in the minds after last week's opener. And then Payson Johnson, by a single point, was able to win the Fox Raceway National last week and is up by just 1 point over Alexis Leclerc. Braden Carter also in the mix with a good ride. And Colby Eaglin with that second moto win after the 9th in the first moto definitely salvaged his day and is looking to continue the ball rolling here into Hangtown. So that's a lay of the land rolling into tonight's action. Let's go ahead and jump you guys into the server and get ready to go racing here tonight at Hangtown. Another great track by the RaceFactory Gaming track crew. Personally speaking, I've always much preferred the rougher tracks, and I know that we do have the erode system in the game now that does make the tracks a little bit rougher and makes the ruts deeper, but I still felt that the starter tracks that we had, even with the erode system, were not as good as they could or should be. So I'm glad to see that for the second round in a row, we've got a very deep, a very rough racetrack here in Hangtown. And I think it's going to reach up and bite some of these guys, but I also do think that there's every chance it makes a little bit closer racing as well, because we won't see guys really, really sending it. It's going to be more of picking and choosing your lines and making sure that everybody is getting through cleanly lap after lap. So we'll keep an eye on the racetrack as it develops. Of course, with the road system, the ruts will wear in more. The track will change quite a bit throughout each moto, and we may see that main line early on change up a little bit later on, and some different lines shine through as the moto gets later on, and those guys are battling for those also important positions. So it looks like we do have our consolation race rolling right in here first. I have to reload my reshade every time. I don't know why it does that now, but yeah, let's go ahead and get going. I think this is going to be 250 consi to start it off. So I'll get our graphic up there. Make sure you guys can see what race we got going on. And great to have you all with us here tonight. Hopefully, wherever you're watching, you're having a great night and ready to watch some MX Simulator action here. As, yeah, the 250 consi guys are out there on their little reconnaissance lap. And, man, we have a lot of people. 27 guys going to the gate in this consolation race. Harnischweger, Justin Adams, Race Cobble, Carl Novak, Jeremy Estrella, Cole Gress, Jack Lee, Will Canal, Hayden Grimes, Ryan Swanson, Rogan McIntosh, Brandon Wolf, Emil Howe. We got Marcondes Faitosa, Brandon Nygren, Nick Tomasunis, Nick Niles, Jacob Kelly, Timmy Briscoe, Tyler Blowers, Dre Smith, Taylor Bell, Luke Fowler, Tyson Parliament in here. I think I missed somebody a little bit further back here. Joey Bradstreet looks like he's in this one as well. Harrison Gafford. So this is going to be a good race to watch for sure, to see how these guys kind of take to this track early on and see what racing lines we see develop, what looks like to the strong lines to take around this racetrack just from these guys, and maybe set us up for some good races as we head into the motos. But right now, started off, it is consolation race time here at Hangtown for the 2023 MX Simulator Hangtown National. 27 riders on the gate, only 4 go through. And it is time to drop the gates and kick off the evening here at Hangtown. Let's go racing in the outdoors. Pretty long gate hold, and a few guys jumped and actually hit. It's going to be a Yamaha up the inside who's going to control it. Will he control it out? He will. It's the Covenant of Rogan McIntosh. They're on the 45, and a stack up going to the second corner caused a lot of guys to go down. So McIntosh is going to roll away with the early advantage as he heads into the kind of the far end of the track right here. There's 2 far ends of the track really at Hangtown, because like the center of the track is really where everybody is hanging out on the hillsides and on the other side of the track as well. So McIntosh early on here finding a little bit of breathing room and working his way through this tricky off camber down into this flat section, hard on the throttle through this flat area. And then some of these guys are going to choose to double right there to that inside line, but McIntosh almost blows it and goes down. Nice save right there. And continues on now just in front of the 440 of Harrison Gafford. So Gafford with a good start, got through all that melee in the second turn, moves his way into second spot, and is looking at the lead, but now he's looking at the ground because he is down, heading down the downhill, and he's going to go from second place out of a transfer spot. Looks like he's going to slip back to about 8th or so spot. Another rider down, that's Nygren on the downhill. And a few more stacking up behind him is, oh, looks like Gafford just got clipped by Blowers, so let's reset it. McIntosh leads from now Luke Fowler moving into the 2 spot on the 82. Justin Adams right behind him on the 211 is in 3rd. And Race Cobble rounding out our transfer positions in this consolation race. These guys are going to be going 4 laps in this one. And if you crash early on and put yourself at a disadvantage, it is a really long road to try to get into the mix and battle for a transfer position, especially with so many riders on the track. I mean, we have 27 riders racing this consolation race. And you get buried early on, good luck trying to make it through 23 of those guys to get into a transfer spot. As Cobble might take advantage up the outside of the step up into the tree corner here. Then dropping off the top of the hill, he has made that pass on Justin Adams because he will control the inside line into this corner down here. It used to be kind of a half pipe right here, but they changed it last year to be more of just a straightaway into a U-turn down over the old finish line jump right there, and now a big wall jump as these guys will launch back out onto the straightaway down by the mechanics area. Look at this, Adams peeking back up the inside before the finish line jump, slides out, so he's not going to get it, but maintains for the time being at least in that 4th position. Oh, sliding into that corner though. Adams making a few too many mistakes. That's going to allow the 309 of Timmy Briscoe into the mix here. He will move down the inside into that transfer position. Now turning up the hill and charging all the way to the top right there. So tough, this section of the racetrack. It's really deceiving, even from our camera views, which usually do a pretty good job of how off camber that section is right there. Really leaning on the inside edge of those tires and making sure that you don't find the angle a little bit too deep past and slip and maybe go down. But Briscoe's making it look really easy through that first section of the racetrack now into the middle portion. You kind of divide it into 3 sectors. There's that step up kind of ends the first sector more or less. And then you come through this middle section, which is really high speed up and down hills. This is really all the way uphill again towards the top of the hill at Prairie City SVRA in Rancho Cordova, California. And dropping back down the hill into the flat areas here. Then you kind of move into this more or less the third sector of the track, going through this split section down the hill towards the old Fly 150 jump. Used to be an uphill whoop section. Now it's kind of just a big step up double into the back. Really fun to float off of. Land a little deep in those braking bumps. And then this section's new to last year. This kind of turning jump through the back section right here. Jump in and then double all the way to the back. Big step up in the top. And then Briscoe landing into the SpongeBob right there is going to get high centered and is going to allow Blowers into the mix. So as they drop down the hill nearly side by side, this is your battle for that 4th and final position to go through into the motos. Briscoe looks like he's able to settle it back down nicely, but almost a little nose heavy on the landing right there as they come down to the finish line jump. That is completing lap number 2 onto lap number 3 of 4 in this consolation race. Briscoe, nice inside move right there. Still holding on to 4th. This battle right here is still just 6 seconds off the race lead, so at any point, one of those 3 riders up ahead could maybe even have a fall, and it would push them down into this battle or behind. Even if you're in that lead trio right now, you can't get too comfortable. Briscoe actually opens up that gap again, so Blowers must have made a small mistake somewhere that we did not see off camera. Definitely lost some touch. And Jacob Kelly, Boots House 351, now tailing up behind him. He's getting into the mix as well. But Briscoe has other plans, man. He is going after Race Cobble for the 3 spot on this 115 Matrix Honda. So Cobble not out of the woods as Fowler now takes over the lead from McIntosh. That group is about 6 seconds up the road of this duo. And Cobble under attack from Briscoe. If you're just joining us here at round 2 of the RaceFactory Gaming National Championship in MX Simulator, the highest competitive league in MX Simulator there is. Racers from all over the world gather on Wednesday nights every week to race 11 weeks of the year and crown a national champion at season's end. But right now, we are watching the consolation race, which is more or less a last chance qualifier. And any of these riders in this have not made it into the motos yet. But if they do make it out of this LCQ, they will race the motos and have the chance to score those points. Only the top 20 positions score points in each moto. And then we have 2 motos ran on the day, and by the end of it, we'll tally up those total scores and determine an overall winner. White flag waving. Luke Fowler, number 82, out front. Like to say he's in control at this point, but still McIntosh close behind could certainly give him a run for his money. And Fowler honestly looks really comfortable right now, pushing into these ruts, laying over some nice scrubs on that big table out of the second turn. Look at that, even floating it over that hip jump at the top of the hill. Hard on the throttle. Down to that inside rut and out, and getting away rather nicely from Rogan McIntosh. This is a really nice effort from Fowler. Slides out right there is going to cost him, but I think he'll retain the lead no problem. Oh, that's going to hurt him, though. Got sideways and kicked down the hill a little bit, and that will cost him the lead. McIntosh to the race lead on the final lap of the consolation race, but both of these riders really should be perfectly comfortable to maintain position at this point and just get into the motos. The last thing you want to do is try to go for the win, have a late crash, and cost yourself a chance at even racing the motos. So I think McIntosh and Bowser here, plenty aware of that situation, and as I say that, Bowser says, forget about all that noise, I want to win this consi, as he slides up the inside to retake the lead, and then gives it right back in the next corner. These two are going for it. Oh, crossover lines, and Bowser goes down on the rear tire of McIntosh. Now, will he retain a transfer spot as he gets up? Actually, Cobble just went down in third, and he's down with Timmy Briscoe. So Briscoe and Cobble are both down together. They were third and fourth relatively comfortably. Blowers has now gotten into third place. And with McIntosh on his way to the win, the battle for the final transfer spot is still on, and it's not over yet with Briscoe trying to inch away ever so slightly from Cobble. As we come down to the flag, though, it will be McIntosh launching onto the start straight into the final turn, and Rogan McIntosh wins the consolation race. He's going to the motos. Bowser should join him, as will Blowers. Now Briscoe's got to try to hold off Cobble for one more straightaway in a corner. Does Cobble go for the ultimate send off the wall jump right here, or is he just going to maybe try to get close for cuts? He does send it pretty hard, lands a little bit sideways. He's going to go for the deep dive into the corner, but he doesn't get there. It's going to be Briscoe hanging on by 7/10 at the flag. Cobble is going to kick himself for that one, but we will see if penalties affect that post-race. So Adams crosses in 6th, Dre Smith 7th, Jacob Kelly in 8th. Harrison Gafford, who was second early on, looks like he'll finish this one up in 9th. Brandon Wolf will round out our top 10 as Evan Cormack, Will Canal, Joey Bradstreet, Seth Harnischweger. We got Ryan Swanson, Tyson Parliament, Carl Novak, Nick Tomasunis, Taylor Bell, Jeremy Estrella, Jack Lee, Cole Gress, Brandon Nygren, Nick Niles, Emil Hool, Marcondes Vitosa, and Hayden Grimes are all not going to make the motos here tonight. These guys still having little individual races to the flag and just trying to have a little bit more fun before we send them packing for the evening. Parliament over the line, still waiting for about half the field to come through. We'll give some love to some of these other guys. Ryan Swanson of the Peep.co ride. Gonna see his night end right there. Taylor Bell, Carl Novak, Thomas Sunis, Jack Lee, Jeremy Estrella. Guys just finishing it off here. It's always fun to kind of look around after the race as well and kind of see what setups guys are running. I don't have the bike skins here for Jack Lee of the BFC crew, but got the Dynaco transportation effort here from Jeremy Estrella. Nice little look with the Fox head to toe. And here we go. Penalties are coming in. Let's see if it changes up here. Oh, waiting across the line for Estrella. Any day, there we go. And it does not change. In fact, no penalties for either rider at all. So Cobble just short of the motos. He's headed back to the hauler for the evening and already disconnects out of the server, knowing that his night is done. So Briscoe, Blowers, Bowser, and McIntosh heading to the motos here tonight out of the consolation race. And from that, we roll right into our 450 consi, but for the time being, let's go ahead and roll back into the studio and hang out with you fine folks for a little bit. I'm going to try to do this a little bit more. I feel like now that we're not on ESTV and NAD Esports on Twitch, I feel like we can be a little bit looser with the program, right? Like, we're not on TV anymore, so it can have a little bit more fun and hang out and answer questions if anybody has some stuff in chat that you want to talk about, or generally speaking, if you have topics we would like to discuss. I'm here to hang out with the fine folks of the moto gaming community. And I'm also here to have one very large glass of water. I mean, like, look at this thing up against the side of my head. I'm trying to stay hydrated tonight, folks. Some good cold water always hits the spot, especially when you're planning on talking for 3.5 hours. Get a cup holder under that, though, so we don't damage the desk. Very nice. Very, very nice. How's everybody doing tonight, though? Good to see a pretty lively chat. I'm not sure why it's not pulling up on our live chat here on the screen, but we'll see it probably come up soon. And in the meantime, we're waiting to load in for this 450 consi. Thank you, Ian. I appreciate that, man. I hope people enjoy what we're trying to do with Racer X. We're trying to bring in a couple different ideas when it comes to video production and do a few fun things. If you didn't catch our Instagram live video on the Racer X account before the motos on the weekend as well, definitely check us out this weekend. Myself and Donnie Rotomoto Southers will be going live on Racer X Instagram about 20 minutes before the motos start this weekend at Hangtown. So head over there. We'll give a little pre-race synopsis. I'll try to grab someone to interview. Last week we pulled Nick Romano up and interviewed him for a little bit. So yeah, thanks so much for continuing to support us over there at Racer X, which is honestly where I'm putting all my time and effort into lately. I haven't been able to do much on the SYS side with all the stuff we've been doing at Racer X, but it's pretty fun. Top 20 rundown brought to you by Poland Spring. I don't know what that means. I don't know what Poland Spring is. Is that a water company? Is RF doing SMX playoffs? That I do not know, but I do know that is a question I want to ask. So I'll try to remember that. Transcend says sending the wall third gear pin is a blast. I'd have to say that is probably rather fun. I can't say that I've done it myself in this game. Yes, Ethan, I will be at Washougal again. Myself and quite a few buddies that used to play MX Simulator together are all going to be at Washougal. It's a 10-year anniversary of us all road tripping to Washougal from San Diego back in 2013. So we're going to kind of do the same trip again, and we'll definitely be there. So if you're around and want to say hey, please don't hesitate if you see me to stop me, tap me on the shoulder, and say what's up. Introduce yourself and talk a little bit of sim if you want, or talk moto, or whatever you want to talk. Will we ever see PSDs becoming free like bikes? Like PSDs on the bike models or the PSD bike models? Like, probably not, because all the top guys that make bike dynos or bike models in sim anymore will do it for pay. It's been probably 8 years now since pretty much everything used to be released for free. So like if you go back to sim a decade ago when I started getting involved, everything was free. Nobody paid for anything. All the bikes were released for free. And I feel that community-wise it was a little bit better back then, but I get it. I get why they want to charge. It's a lot of time and hours. So yeah, it happens. All right, let's I'm not going to every motocross race this year. I'll probably go to about 7 or 8 of them though. So yeah, but let's jump in because we have a 450 consolation race to run. So let's call it as is and see who's going to go through to the motos. We have got about 22 guys on the gate. So this is going to be a fun one for spots into the motos. We'll take them through. Here we go. We're off and running. Out of the middle, the 75 got there first, but the 73 of Brandon Larson actually ran deep into the first corner. Kyler Smith grabs a hole shot on the inverted relic Honda, but then he goes down, giving Casey on the 120. I think that's Casey Oler the early lead, and then Larson went down on his rear tire. So now Dylan Cavicciuti and Chase McDonald are side by side going up the uphill, and McDonald is going to take the early lead. And then there's a big gap behind these guys as now McDonald gets swapped out coming down the hill. Donald takes that early advantage, though, and leaves from Dylan Cavicciuti, who rode for my MX Bikes team this Supercross season. And I appreciate him finally telling me the correct way to pronounce his name, because I said Cavicciuti forever. But he says it is pronounced Dylan Cavicciuti. So I'll take his word for it. Oh, Casey's going down on the fills, number 120. Is he going to lose a transfer spot? Because there was a lot of guys down. He is going to get up just behind transfer in 6th now. Robert Wilson went by into 5th, and Gatlin Morrow is in the final transfer spot. Jared Gummison, the Mid-Atlantic Power Wash ride going up the hill, has moved into 3rd place, but the battle for 4th is on. Gatlin Morrow and Robert Wilson having at it with a tow coming up behind them. A lot of riders in train at the top of the hill. Wilson thinking inside line right here. Going to go for the triple land in the rut and take advantage. Crosses over, gets into Morrow, who goes deep and goes down with the instant legs off. Meanwhile, up the inside comes Casey Ohlert into the final transfer spot, but Robert Wilson goes deep and takes it back and then tire taps Ohlert, who somehow landed it and then goes down on Wilson's rear tire anyway. So Wilson gave him a little nudge with the rear tire to kick the front end high on Ohlert. He went really nose high off the face of that jump and then somehow collected it together to land, but he was landing sideways, turned into the rear tire of Wilson, and down he went. Funny sequence right there. Not funny if you're Casey Ohlert. So back to our leader. It's Dylan Cavicciuti coming down to check in with the early race lead at the end of lap 1. McDonald is second, and these two are long gone at the front. Gummison third and Wilson fourth, breaking away a little bit now, as Robert Wilson definitely riding fast but loose, looking to be in the motos and carrying that momentum, but has to try to beat Kyle here. I don't know who Kyle is. A lot of improper naming conventions going around these days. But it is 323 Kyle, so is this Kyle Robb by chance? It could be. Kyle Robb, former 250 East Supercross champion and multi-time moto and race winner in RaceFactory Gaming competition, was for a long time career number 23. I don't remember if he has relinquished that yet or not, but he is running a 323 if that is him. And he just slid out right there, so Jared Higgins went by. But Wilson's kind of holding his own and just sneaking away in this fourth position. Let's actually go on board with Wilson. Get a little bird's eye view here of the racetrack. You can see just how rough some of these downhills are. Man, so bumpy. Talked about it at the beginning of the stream, but this really feels to me a bit like a throwback to some of those 2012 to 2016-ish Nationals, which was basically the entirety of my career in this game, 2012 to 2017. 17 is the last year I raced. But yeah, those national tracks, man, they were brutal back then because they did not have the road system, so the tracks wouldn't get worse in any way. They would just start brutal and finish brutal, and they would dig out some deep ruts and have huge holes in them and so on and so forth. And this is certainly a little bit of a feel back to that. Not as gnarly, but obviously they are trying to allow for the road system to take some effect. I just like to see rough nationals again. Make outdoors rough again is what I say. Or Mora. Make outdoors rough again. You can see our actually all three of our leaders just ahead of Robert Wilson here, fairly nose to tail. So that means that Cavicciuti went down at some point and is not as far gone as he was. He was definitely quite a bit out in the lead, and now the front four more or less just about 2 seconds apart each, but actually going down at a second now. Chase McDonald is down before finish line jump, and as he picks it up, he is going to retain fourth, but he is going to have Kyle Robb behind him before long, as Jordan Potash in our chat let me know that he believes it is Kyle Robb. So we'll take Jordan Potash's word for it here. Kyle Robb, aka Ryder Robb. Oh, down though goes Kyle Robb. Front end push. Turns into a high side, and off the machine he goes. Only going to lose 2 spots, going back to 7th now. Or 8th, actually, I should say. Or did I just completely miss something? Yeah, Brandon Larson was down going up the hill, I guess, with JGMX. Interesting sequence there. JGMX, hashtag 4Kiska. I didn't know JG... Does JG work for Kiska now? Didn't know that if he does. Robert Wilson is comfortably, at least for the time being, in the final transfer spot. So long as he stays on 2 wheels, this should be a relatively easy one for him. Back to our race leader, though, the Connect Visual number 264 of Dylan Cavicciuti. 284, I should say. Why did I not remember that? He's literally on my bikes team. Ooh, Evan Vanderkoy. Is he in this race? I didn't even notice that. That would be Evmoof from the MX Bike side. Let's go back and see if we can find him. It looks like if he was, he's not in the race anymore. I do know that Avmove handed over some skins earlier this evening to have me use in the racing, but I don't know if he made the motos then or not. Jay Costa 9 with the brutal slam. 450 outdoors is just not fun to watch because Payson Johnson never goes outside or gets up when outdoors start. Oh my gosh. So white flag out for Dylan Cavicciuti. Oh, big old whipper tail. Love to see it. Jared Gummison also revving her out. Oh, wow. So Evmove qualified 17th in 250s, which means he's in the motos. Let's go Evmove. Look, I'm not necessarily great at bikes, and I think if I really tried, I could still make the motos in sim. But to do both at the same time, man, that is some gnarly dedication. I know Seabolt was doing that, racing MX bikes and MX sim at the same time, but now to hear Evmove out here on the grind, that's pretty crazy. Pretty little boring last chance qualifier here. These top four are making it too easy at the front. Dylan Cavicciuti is all by himself. Jared Gummison is 5.9 seconds back. Chase McDonald has Robert Wilson on him, but then Robert Wilson has about 6 seconds back to JGMX. It's actually 5, so you never know. Late crash here could really turn the tide. Certainly looks like JGMX is trying, man. He just caught up a whole second right there. Oh, is that is Jared Gummison down off the side of the track. JGMX is going to close this down a little bit. Gummison should be okay, though. So Wilson moves up to third, McDonald to second, and Dylan Cavicciuti taking the dub. It's another guy jumping from bikes to sim. I think Cavicciuti started in sim and has recently gone over to bikes. McDonald's going to finish up in second. Wilson going to get third. And Jared Gummison gets the final spot to the motos. He comes through in fourth. So Kyle Robb misses out. JGMX will also miss out. Jared Higgins, Ethan Olson, Brett Thomas, Kyler Smith, Line Police, Inverted Relic. Always the purple Mystic looking Hondas is what Inverted runs. Keegan Riley not going to make it. It's cool to see all the TMs, though. The TM Factory Racing crew put together a team again this year. I forget who they're partnered with. I guess it'd be BFC. And well, Wildside Designs also has TMs. That's a good-looking bike, though, that TM. Ace Enlow not going to make it. Zach Fisher. Gary Laser Eyes. Brandon Larson. Gustavo Navega. Gatlin Morrow, Jet Wisdom, Liam, Casey Olert, Eduardo Simos, Noah McLaughlin also not going through. And again, we shall wait for everyone to finish off. Zach Fisher will be the last one. All right, Zach Fisher going to bring us home. Let's see if penalties affect our top 4 positions, and they do not. Gummison, Wilson, McDonald, and Cavicciuti going through to the motos, and that is our consolation races all finished. 250 Moto 1 coming up next. Back in studio, though, with you guys, though, for now. Hang out with the chat for a little bit while we get ready to go for 250 Moto 1. We're going to see those red plates on Seth Shirley as Cavicciuti goes for the step up to death and hangs out with the fans for a little bit. Have another sip of water. It's just so refreshing. Yeah, sim is brutal, man. It's like so tough though, because I like hard learn sim, which is play it every day for hours for my entire, basically the year that I turned 19. Played it for hours every day to get good at it. So then I got a base level established, and now like picking up sim just feels easy. Like I kind of know what to expect. I do crash more often than I used to, but I feel like bikes to me is like, I don't even know what's happening. And then people play bikes and they're like, dude, this is so easy. Like, why are you not going faster? And I'm like, because my hands are doing sim things. I don't know what's going on. What is up, LW Tommy? How's it going? Jake at RD Racing as well. Hole shot pick. Good question, because we got the Studio 8 hole shot award. I'm gonna go Leitzel first moto, I think. I feel like I'm gonna see that one plate shoot out of the gates like a cannon for this one. Put the RM Army on top. Dang, look at all those chats rolling in. Did Shirley switch teams from Supercross? He switched at the very end of Supercross. I don't remember. He switched over to JIBR.co at the end of Supercross, but I don't remember if that team stayed going for outdoors or if he's on a different program. We'll load in and find out. Emil Hool thinks that Tharp is going to get it done. Joshua Crummets got Shirley. What's up, Casanova? Sean Atkins rooting for Evan out here tonight. And Aaron thinks it's going to be Logan in the 250s and Johnson in the 450s. Doghouse cam when gate drops. Cage Norton would like to see that. I think we could pull that off. Solo is voting for Cade Matherly tonight. He's got the Cade Matherly pick. Hi, Joshua. How are you? Almost loaded in. Takes forever to load in and get all these bikes loaded. So many skins. And for whatever reason, my own team sent me 4K skins for our guy that's racing here tonight, Ethan Parks. So it's like, bro, you know I broadcast. Just give me the 2K skins. Unbelievable. And then... what team was it? Braxton Worldwide, I think, uploaded 8K skins by mistake. By mistake. 15 gigabyte pack for the team. All right, Sean Aikens seconds the doghouse cam, which means we're getting it for show. All right. Disco Rico. And let's give you guys a quick rundown of who is in the motos. There we go. All right. Back to, so Braden Tharp, Seth Carr, Timmy Briscoe, Matthias Janis, Caden Speck, Tyler Nichols, Emmanuel Cepeda, Rasmus Balzer, Lucas Brune, Evan Holt, Emmanuel Cepeda, already said him, Johan Bordeaux, Colin Allen, Frank Jackson, Talon Zollers, Riley Hewen, Alex Zellner, Alec Horn. There's Logan Leitzel on the 1, Dominic Paolini, Tanner Rogers, Trent Adams. There's Seth Shirley on the TSCZ Takadoji number 44, Ryan Pinkerton, Luke Fowler, Bodie Parker, Tom Quino, Max Chwalik, Christopher McPherson, J.R. Reyes, John Heilman, Sonny Spicer, Ben Seberg, Tyler Blowers, Cade Matherly, Johnny Padani. There's Evan Vanderkoy. Evmoof is here, folks. And let's get it. It's time to drop the gate. We'll give you guys a doghouse cam for this off the start of 250 Moto 1. As soon as we're loaded in, make sure we got all those bikes loaded. Hopefully we're not late to the gate because it seems like this is taking a little bit to load. Come on. Oh, shoot, sorry. No doghouse cam, but we're off and running. Stupid computer takes forever to load, and into the first corner, it's going to be chaos, but Max Chwalik rips the Studio 8 hole shot award. He pushes Seth Shirley out in the second corner. Dualies, Trileys, everybody tossing him. Balls are to the lead. Chwalik back to second. Shirley up the inside, trying to funnel in behind them in third, but around the outside. Oh, big takeout. I don't know who that was, but they were going down, coming up the uphill. It's Matherly, who's moving into third, maybe even second up the inside here, and he's got it. He's bringing Colin Allen with him on the 351. Allen going down on the outside of the off camber as it's Balzer from Matherly early on. It is chaos. Oh, Tharp timed out. Red flag. We got a red flag. It sounds like a red flag. Do have a red flag situation here, so we'll turn the timer off and redo it, and that should give us time this time to do the doghouse cam. Well, that was chaos off the start. We'll see if it happens again. Loading script. Done. And we are in this time, and we got the timer set up good this time as well. Let's give you guys a doghouse cam, folks. It's time to go racing. Let's drop the gate at Hangtown 250 Moto 1. Let's get it! Well, into the first corner, I saw Cowie get in there first, but I don't see who it is leaving because a lot of guys went down in the first corner. It is that Kawasaki. It's a 46 that time. Colin Allen goes to the race lead. Alec Horn picked up the Studio 8 hole shot award this time. But it's going to be Allen with the early lead trying to get around the outside going up the hill. Horn up the inside trying to take it back from him, but Allen swoops the outside to hold on to the lead. Alex Zellner up in third place early on with Tharp, who timed out, and they red flagged for him. He's got a good start this time. He is in fourth, and Caden Speck rounds out our top five. Trying to see if I see those red plates of the 44 of Seth Shirley in the background. Not seeing them early on, but that was a chaotic mix off the start. Horn retakes the lead going up the top of the hill. Oh, man. 4 or 5 guys nearly side by side coming down the hill up the inside. Zellner looking for a move on Allen, who goes to the outside. He gets pushed wide as down goes Alec Horn, and Zellner takes the lead on the 926. So Zellner leading up the hill on the first lap. Speck second, Tharp third. And it looks like Allen was able to pick it back up still in fourth with Frank Jackson swinging to the outside. He's got Trent Adams on the inside there on the 26th. He's in fifth. And this is unbelievable action. Freight train at the front early on. And keeping an eye on where our championship leader Seth Shirley is. Not a good start for him, it appears. Cade Matherly, who was up front in the first start, back in 17th on this one for the second time around. And Shirley, outside of the top 20, he's in 21st. As Alex Zellner, Verb Moto 926, leads us up to the big step up on the first lap. He's got Speck on the 89 right behind him as they drop down the hill. And Zellner looking to lead a lap. Talk to Chris Post, who's going to race our 450 class here tonight in a little bit later on. And Posty, who hole shot the second moto of the 450 class last week, he said all he saw when he was leading the race early on was one lap lead. He just wanted to lead one lap, get on the stat sheet this year for that one lap lead, and then he crashed a few corners before the finish and handed it over, and he was so bummed. But Zellner, unlike Posty, completes the lap out front. Slight dualies off of that jump as Speck is looking outside. I think that inside is just too OP though, so not able to make advances just yet, but he does get a little closer with that drive up to the top of the hill. He's going to try the inside right here at the bottom. Goes for the second rut with Zellner to the third. Zellner just on the gas down this straightaway, doubling into that corner smoothly, and Spec losing a little bit of a touch. So Spec charging down the hill to that outside mark and going right back at it, just on the throttle. You're going to hear these 250s just wicked out every straightaway, wide open, just getting every little dose of power out of them that they possibly can. But that's what it's like racing RaceFactory Gaming Nationals and MX Simulator. These 250s just feel underpowered outdoors realistically, and those 450s really good at maintaining a decent amount of power everywhere around the racetrack. But these 250s are always wide open. You always have to ride them at the high RPMs. So Adams has Seth Carr right behind him. This is 4 and 5. This front group still pretty nose to tail in the early runnings of this. We're still just on that second lap of the race at the moment. And wow, Seth Shirley and Logan Leitzel not having a good time. Update in chat from Jordan Patash is P25 out of Seth Shirley, P32 out of Logan Leitzel. So we'll see if any of these guys make some early mistakes and help some of those guys coming from the back get into the mix a little bit more. Is this group up at the front just on a mission right now? Like I said at the top of the show, there's every chance that we see a different group of riders at the front of the field this week than we saw last week. See some mixed results, and maybe the 250 class standings are certainly not set in stone after just one round. Oh, slide out. Spec down out of P2, going to lose three spots by the looks of it. And Caden Spec gets up in 5th, so Seth Carr was able to get around him, as did Trent Adams. Colin Allen's going for the race lead, though. Battle at the front, Zellner versus Allen. Zellner with that inside line. Allen around the outside is going to take over the race lead. The 351 Phil's ride goes to the front. So Colin Allen, who was spectacular in Supercross earlier this year, did enough to attract the attention. Braden Carter, the team leader at Filski and Snowboard. And Allen now has moved into the race lead for the first time, speaking outdoors here. And this is a great opportunity for him to show what he's made of. A rookie in the class, 3-digit guy, but on a great team and program, getting some awesome support to go to the races here. I'm sure he would love to try to walk away and maybe even steal a moto win here early in the season. Be huge for the confidence. And Zellner, of course, behind him, no slouch. He's going to try to stick with him, but he's already slipped a little bit back into the graces of Trent Adams on that Yogi number 26 Suzuki. Good little 3-rider train still, though, in this battle for second right now with Zellner, Adams, and Spec. They have lost the toe of Tanner Rogers behind them. Parker, Carr, Matherly, Chwalik, and Frank Jackson is our top 10. Oh, Spec just went down, going to the outside of this corner right here. And you're going to see, as you fall out of that front group a little bit, you start losing positions more frequently when you have a crash, because everyone stays pretty close off the top group. I feel like you get into the lead 4 or 5, you're able to break away a little bit, just like Colin Allen is doing so nicely at the front. And he's putting some time on these guys too. That lap time last time through, 2:14.7 for the Phil's rider. So 2:21.2 out of Zellner, 2:18.1 Adams, 2:17.7 Rogers, 2:22.4 for Carr, 2:29.3 out of Spec. And a 2:15.7 out of Matherly is more or less the closest one to what we're seeing out of Colin Allen in the race lead, as Matherly scoots by into 6th spot. But even Matherly a second and a half off of his pace. So Bodie Parker on an 18, Spec on that 29. Chwalik is closer on a 15 flat. 19.7 out of Heilman, 22.2 for Jackson, 19.1 for Bordeaux. And I mean, you have to go deep into the field, you're still not even seeing those types of times. That 14 is really solid. Go back here and take a look at Evan Vanderkoy because the people in the chat are absolutely demanding to see Ev move on the 186. Looking solid. Sunbelt program helping out an effort in MX Sim here tonight. Just in the battle, not scoring points, but in the battle. That's all that matters. And I want to see, well, Balzer's way back here. But it looks like our two guys that we were looking back here earlier on, one of Leitzel and the 44 of Shirley, have found their way forward just a little bit. So let's see where they're at now. Leitzel is 18th on the 1. So the Yogi Designs machine has moved, actually he's 19th. It's just behind Stevenson. And Shirley has climbed to 13th. So Shirley and Leitzel seem to be relatively close together on the track and are working their way forward very nicely together. Now, time is of the essence, though. The quicker you can get these passes done, get into the top 10, the better off you're going to be, because then you have more time to slice through the top 10. If it's not until the second half of the race that you get into the top 10, everyone's pretty spread out by that point. So really got to try to get in the mix and make those passes early as we go back to this battle. Still raging on for second. Zellner now dealing with Seth Carr making the pass around the outside of Adams. Adams trying to square back on the inside, but not able to get there. So Seth Carr moves to third. Oh my goodness, almost landing on the back of Zellner. Zellner, to his credit, has done a really good job mixing it up with this front group. And Seth Carr now finally gets up the inside to make the pass into second place. And if you're Seth Carr, I guess throw caution to the wind and maybe try to catch our race leader, who's run 15.9 last time by, 14.7 for Colin Allen, still his best. But Carr just reset what I believe is now the new fastest lap of the race at a 14.3. So the Covenant number 13 program having a better night this time around and really on the charge here at Hangtown. Gives you a really good perspective of how difficult it is to go fast on these racetracks. It just feels like everything's coming at you so fast. You can see just how often Seth Carr is really changing between gears, as well as he hops over every rut right there and runs into a hay bale, but maintains second spot. So 15.6 is the lap time that he's able to put in right here. All in all, though, still just maintaining a perfect gap at the front. Pretty much at that exact window you want to be at, which is if he were to crash right now, it's most likely he would maintain the lead. At the very least, he would just lose it and be right behind Seth Carr in second. So hovering at that 7-8 second gap is a really comfortable place to be. You want it to be a little bit bigger if you can, but just keeping it and maintaining it there. Colin Allen looks so smooth at the front. Seth Carr still second. Matherly has clawed into third. That's a good run for him. He's got a 14.8. And a 15.7 as his last time by. He is on the move right now. Just got around Zellner. So Parker is now 5th. Rogers 6th. Chwalik 7th. And Shirley has now made it into 8th. And he's doing really good use of time right here to get through the field in a hurry. He's going to make a mistake right here. It's going to cost him a spot, though. So he loses to Johan Bordeaux. Shirley 9th. Adams is bar to bar in 10th with Frank Jackson. Jackson's going to get the spot, and then trying to move into 11th is Leitzel on the left side of the track, getting around his teammate. And Leitzel will get it done. So Leitzel and Shirley really have done a solid job right here of limiting the damage, getting together, and basically freight training forward. It's going to be really curious to see how far they get. It's certainly feasible they get into the top 5. Where they get beyond that is anybody's guess. Oh, change for the lead. Seth Carr has taken it over. So we didn't see it. It must have been a crash out of Colin Allen based on those difference in gap, but it goes back to exactly what I was saying pretty much a lap ago, that Allen had just enough of a gap that he'd probably get up right behind Carr. But now he has made another big mistake, and he's going to be about 5 seconds down of Carr, and actually dealing with the pressure from Matherly, who has just been on a mission to get to the front of this pack. So Carr 4.3 seconds ahead, but Matherly on the charge right now. 16-2 last time by for the Twizzy, number 25. Really not an ideal first week out of Matherly. I think he was hoping for more consistent results and more front-running results as well. You can tell this week he's fired up. I don't know if it's this racetrack that he feels a little bit more comfortable on, or maybe he worked on some stuff with the team during the week or something along those lines. But he definitely looks really solid, and now Seth Carr is not going to be having as big of a lead as he did before. So I'm not sure what happened to Seth Carr, but he certainly lost some ground. He was about 4 seconds ahead. Now it's down to 1.5, maybe 2 seconds over Allen. And Matherly is still just bringing up caboose of this front trio. Oh, Seth Carr is down before the wall jump. So there goes our race leader again. Colin Allen coughed it up to Seth Carr. Now Seth Carr coughs it back up to Colin Allen. But I feel like the man to watch at the moment is Cade Matherly. I guess we'll have to see how well Allen can regroup from that crash and try to get the lead that he had before established again. Matherly just made a few mistakes coming through that first section, so the gap is extended now about 3 seconds for our two race leaders. But this will be fun to watch and a bit of a test here, because even though Matherly still pretty young and new to the series, he is a proven winner, but it feels like he's, I guess, more of a veteran now in this class compared to obviously what we're seeing out of Colin Allen. So if you're Matherly, use that race winning experience, that veteran experience, for everything it's worth, and try to claw your way up to the rear tire of Colin Allen. Make this thing interesting for the race lead. I feel like he's got it lined up pretty well right here. Gap is slowly coming down, and right now there is nothing between him and Allen, and nothing ahead of Allen for a little ways. There is no lap traffic involved as Matherly got kicked sideways. Nice little job pulling it together and not going down. So get ready, folks. This is about to be a battle for the lead. Colin Allen versus Cade Matherly for Moto 1 here at Hangtown. More battles still to be had further back of this one, but this is all eyes and attention right now on the race lead, as Cade Matherly looks for his first win of the season. Double to the inside of the corner. Hook of that rut nicely. I feel like Matherly's got it figured out at this point now. 1.5 seconds, the gap. Whew, Colin Allen launching out onto the start straightaway. Matherly also having a good launch, but Allen felt like he was up there, dude. So 17-3 versus an 18-4. A second gain that last time by, and would you look at that? The gap is now at 1.1 seconds between our two leaders. So is it time for Matherly to make this happen, or will Colin Allen survive the attack? You can see these guys also experimenting with different lines. I feel like the track is definitely changing up just enough that those main lines they were using earlier on are not as comfortable anymore. Even Allen kind of hopping down into that rut a little bit awkwardly. Yeah, this is such a mono-y-mono battle at this point. These two are pretty far ahead of their next competitors there in third and fourth. Not too far ahead, I guess, of Seth Carr. Carr is lurking back there. But I don't think Matherly even realizes Carr's back there. All focus ahead on Colin Allen, who is still leading this race, coming up on 10 minutes and 2 laps left to go. So Allen trying to win his first career moto. For Matherly, I believe it would be his third career moto win if he were to get it done. And Seth Carr behind them both, hoping to play spoiler. Something is about to give, I feel. Matherly can see him. He can sense it's close. He wants the opportunity to try to get up there and battle for the lead, but he's just not quite there yet. It's getting closer by the corner, though. Under a second now. 0.9 between the two of them. They both hop through pretty cleanly through this roller section. Up to the step up at the top of the hill. Allen, a mistake. Matherly nearly pulls alongside coming down the hill. And it is on. Time for a battle for the lead. As Colin Allen holds it and Cade Matherly wants it. Outside to inline. Allen goes inside to in to cut the line off. Gonna go long on this wall jump again. Matherly this time goes even bigger though. Has to check up on landing. Didn't want to have an instant fall off crash landing too hard. And Seth Carr just went down in the mechanics area behind them. So it is really between these two now going at it. As Matherly got right up behind him through that first corner. Laid it in and now goes to the inside here in turn 2. It's so interesting to see the difference in line choices. This time they're both going to go to the outside. Matherly actually goes to the second from the outside rut. Seems to like that a little bit better. It works out pretty good. Second from the outside rut right here, as well as Allen kind of goes outside to in to cut the line off. Oh, look at this inside move for Matherly to the outside, swooping the whole line through. And a beautiful pass for the lead. Cade Matherly is out front at Hangtown. What a pass that was. And Allen appears to be stunned. Now can Allen respond, go back to the drawing board and pick up on some lines from Cade Matherly, because it looks like he has really got the track pinned down right now. But if you're Allen, just start following some of the lines that he's taking, and then all it takes is just hitting them a little bit better here and there. You can figure out maybe another option that works a little bit better for you versus what he's doing and use that as a passing opportunity. Allen is not done with Matherly at the front of this field. Difference of lines right there. Inside over the roller for Allen. Outside around it for Matherly. And you can tell Allen does not want to give this lead up that easily. Oh, mistake for Matherly. He's going to hop into that corner a little awkwardly. Allen has a great drive going up this hill. He's going to close that gap down just a little bit more. Inside move here at the bottom. Not quite close enough to really make a charge for the actual pass to the lead, but does get this line through here a little bit better. Maybe actually hopping a little bit awkwardly. So Matherly takes full advantage of that to kind of stretch the gap back out just ever so slightly. It's not a lot that he's opened it up, but it's enough that Allen isn't close enough to really strike and try to make that quick pass to shoot into the race lead. So while they sorted it out here, they got 1.4 seconds between them. Let's go back and see what's going on. Seth Carr in third place, and Shirley has completed a remarkable comeback to get into fourth, and it's not out of the question he could still get on the box here before this thing is over. 19 seconds off the lead. And the 44 ride has done a great job getting into the mix. Max Chwalik rounds out our top 5, with Tanner Rogers back here in 6th, Matthias Janis right behind him in 7th. Bodie Parker not too far behind both of them in 8th. Johan Bordeaux is in 9th, kind of all by himself, with Hayden Stevenson rounding out the top 10. And Leitzel has kind of stalled out here in 11th. So as quickly as he was making moves through the field and going with Seth Shirley ahead of him, Shirley is kind of left him in the dust now and has put some time between he and Leitzel. So Leitzel's got to pick up the pace here, get some more valuable points back as we close into the final 6 minutes plus 2 laps of this moto. And next up for him will be teammate Hayden Stevenson there on the 84. Oh, rider down is Parker, another Yogi Designs rider on the 32. Pushes a few guys forward. Ooh, Allen has lost another position to Seth Carr, so Allen coming unglued a little bit here after leading for a fairly decent majority of this race. Has had a few too many mistakes on the last couple of laps and has gone from the lead back to 19 seconds off and dealing with Seth Shirley in what has become a battle for third place. Drag race up the hills. Shirley ever so close to the rear fender. In sense, Colin Allen right in front of him just wants to make a quick pass and move on if possible, but Allen has been feisty today. Allen's actually kind of gotten away a little bit from Shirley, so as I say that, Shirley makes a few mistakes and Allen has picked up the pace. Cade Matherly, though, is in the lead and at this point in control of this race. He's got a 13-second advantage on Seth Carr. Checking in with 4.5 minutes plus 2 laps left to go in this first 250 moto of the day. And I think that this is going to feel really good for Matherly if he can close the deal on this one. Especially the way that he did it this time around. I feel like getting his first win at Washougal last year, it was good, but he didn't charge to the field the way he did in this one. I feel like this was proof in the pudding that Matherly was arguably the best rider in the first moto. You could say that Shirley's charge forward was pretty good too, but I mean, Matherly came from outside the top 10, methodically worked his way through guys, and got to Colin Allen, and pretty much the best pass we've seen this year, outside in the off camber, charging the whole way. Clean, straight up, hard racing for Cade Matherly to take over the race lead. And now it's maybe cruise control time. Colin Allen has moved back into second, so Seth Carr went down, but Allen's making some mistakes, and Shirley just got around Seth Carr as well. Here comes Chwalik getting into the mix as well. So we got 2, 3, 4, 5 all on your screen going at the top of the hill right here. And then coming back down with Colin Allen still leading this group. But you can see this battle for really third place is heavy. 3 different lines being used. Chwalik inside, scrubs down, gets on that rear tire, and makes the move on Seth Carr to get into 4th place. So don't look too soon now, Seth Shirley. Max Chwalik is on the move, and he is caught up to Shirley now. And Shirley is all over Colin Allen just ahead of him, so this is still a great battle in what is essentially second place on the racetrack. Allen makes a mistake. Shirley gets the line pretty clean. He's going to try to pull alongside. Bar to bar, dualies. Allen's going to try to shut the door, and he will do so to get to that middle rut and hold position. Oh, lap traffic coming back on in a terrible position. Shuffles Shirley off the left side of the track. He's trying to keep Chwalik behind him, and he will. But Chwalik is now right there, and Seth Carr lands on him and goes down. And he's off the bike as well. So that lapped rider, didn't see who it was. A terrible tracker entry right there. But it allows a little bit of breathing room for this trio not having Seth Cartwright on them anymore. But the battle between all three of them still continues. And Chwalik is going back after Shirley. Nearly lands alongside of him. And now pushing into this corner. Shirley makes a mistake. Chwalik bar to bar over the finish line jump. Crosses back over. Shirley pushes him out and maintains position. Great fight. You can see Alan just peeking off screen. Dualies. Filthy ones. These guys are absolutely tossing it. Oh my goodness, Chwalik. I thought he was going to rip that inside rut to take the spot back, but he just couldn't keep the bike upright. Inside here. Oh, that is a lapped rider going down. That was not Alan, I believe. Oh, no, it was Alan. Excuse me. Alan, high-centered in the rut on the opposite side, allows Shirley into the 2 spot. Look at that beautiful line, though, by Chwalik. Doubling to the inside right there. Going to the outside here, coming down the hill. Gets a great drive and makes the pass on Shirley to get into second place. Wow, what a move. 2 great passes thus far in this moto. One for the lead to get Cade Matherly to the front. And now Chwalik passing Shirley, getting into second place. A thing of beauty. I will certainly give that a chef's kiss right there. That was a nice one. Chwalik absolutely hanging it out on the edge. Rear tire sliding, going down the hill. But committed to make that pass and getting into second place. Colin Allen isn't done with these two either. He is all over them. Oh, that's going to make it a little bit more difficult, though. And Shirley's fighting back. Nearly side by side going up the hill. Chwalik cuts the line off. And Shirley's just going to follow him into this middle rut. Chwalik a mistake. Shirley gets a better drive, but still not able to go for it. Chwalik goes for the double, gets it cleanly. And because he's going to be able to double cleanly up to the top, this is going to probably extend that gap just ever so slightly. Not too bad, actually. Shirley did a pretty good job to maintain position. And time has expired. So meanwhile, up front, Matherly just got the 2-lap board because time just expired. 8 seconds passed is when he crossed the line. So 2 laps to go. And Chwalik finally has just a little bit of breathing room. Back to Seth Shirley there in third. Crazy, crazy stuff. So Allen maintains the 4th spot. Seth Carr is in 5th. Rogers 6th. And Leitzel has now moved into 7th. He just got around Matthias Janis by the looks of it. So the one around the 14 to move into P7. At the very least, if you're Leitzel and you were down outside the top 30 at one point, you just have to count your lucky stars that this is going to be some decent amount of points, whether it's 7th, 9th, 6th, 5th, whatever he ends up getting. It's going to be much better points than he had gotten. And Tanner Rogers is lagging. What if those guys are seeing him really lag around right now because Leitzel closed up in a hurry? In a battle for 6th place now. The 40 of Rogers, the 1 of Leitzel. Leitzel inside. Wow. Power move. Just hooks the rut and makes the pass. Janis goes through with him up the inside. They both shuffle the 40 of Tanner Rogers back. Apologies, the microphone was muted there for a second. Saying goodnight to my daughter. But sorry about that. We're back as Matherly has taken the white flag. And he is on his way to a big win here for the 25. Could crash on this last lap and still win this race. So I think he's plenty comfortable just doing his lap however he so chooses on this final one around. But this is also a good opportunity for him with this big of a gap to kind of feel out the lines at the end of this moto and know just how different this track is going to be. Especially if he has to battle for the overall win late in 250 Moto number 2. But at least for now, he's going to start off the day with a solid effort, a solid ride. 16-second gap back to Twalik. Does he get saucy for us on the double? Nah, he is keeping it upright. He knows this win is too good to give up. So final 2 corners for Cade Matherly here at Hangtown to kick off his season here with a bang. 3rd race of the year in terms of motos. And Cade Matherly is about to move to the top step. Here it is. Cade Matherly, your 250 Moto 1 winner at Hangtown. Max Twalik looks like he has survived the battle that he has gone through with Seth Shirley, and the Phil Ski and Snowboard 38 holds on for 2nd. Colin Allen has gotten back into 3rd, and Seth Carr is 4th. Shirley drops all the way back to 5th in the final 2 laps. He was in 2nd at one point, and now he ends up in 5th. So that is certainly going to exchange some things around in terms of our point structure moving forward, and we'll have to see what that looks like. But Seth Carr finishes up in 4th, Shirley 5th, and it looks like Leitzel is going to pick up a 6th place result in this one. So the one machine, solid effort here to finish it off. The 6th place result, Johan Bordeaux. Going to be 7th. Ooh, Rogers is down in 8th, but he will pick it up and maintain 8th. He's going to be okay. Bodie Parker is 9th, and Trent Adams will round out our top 10. Matthias Janis 11th. Hayden Stevenson 12th. Braden Tharp 13th. Rough go for the 20. After a solid opening round last week. Johnny Padani, 14th, coming to the line. He has got some minor pressure from Tom Quinault. Quinault is there, but I think it's going to be too little too late. Yeah, not going to be able to make it there as Padani holds on for 14th, Quinault 15th. Jackson 16th, Alec Horn 17th right behind him. Heilman 18th. All these guys so close coming to the line. Oh, Seberg down in 19th in the final corner, but it doesn't matter. He was just trying to send it to get one more position. He will maintain 19th because Powers is 20th. And here we go. Battle for the final point. Zellner up the inside. Gets around Donut MX. Donut MX is going to come down to the wall jump. Send it. Doolies off the wall jump. Who's going to get into the last corner and take this spot? Zellner through the middle rut. Up the inside goes Powers. It's Zellner who gets 20th. Powers misses on the final points paying position. Spicer and Emmanuel Cepeda go 22nd, 23rd. And Evan Vanderkoy in his MX Simulator professional debut is not going to finish a lap down. He finishes 24th on the lead lap. Great job for Evmoof. Tyler Blowers finishes up in 25th, and Caden Speck did not finish this moto in 26th. Well, technically speaking, he did, but he will be classified a lap down. First rider a lap down, technically, is McPherson, 27th. Briscoe, Brune, Paolini, Reyes, Steins, Zollers, McIntosh, Balzer, Nichols, Fowler, Pinkerton, Holt, and Hewen were the results. And our big winner in moto number 1 is, of course, Cade Matherly. All right, penalties have come in. Let's take a look. Looks like Quinault dropped a spot to Alec Horn. Alec Horn goes from 17th to 15th. Jackson goes from 16th to 18th. And Heilman goes from 18th to 17th. And everybody else stayed the same. All right. Well done, Cade Matherly. Good stuff. Great first Moto win to kick off the evening. Now it's time for 450 Moto 1. But before we do that, let's go ahead and bring you guys back to our studio, our little intermission screen. Hang out with the folks for a minute. Good stuff. All right, that was a fun first moto to kick it off here tonight at Hangtown. And let's see if we can have some more fun stuff. That battle for second, whew, man, that was good stuff. And I feel that gives us an indication that this track does race well because multiple lines were working. A lot of guys were jumping out and trying a couple different things out. So what's going on in the chat room right now? Looks like you guys are all pretty stoked on Evmoof, except for Wise Guys Racing, who fits his name to a T. Das Boot. Looking a Glas. Ein Boot. Sehr gut. Oh, man. How's everybody doing tonight on this lovely Wednesday, May 31st, 2023? Or maybe it is already Thursday, June 1st, for you wherever you are in the world. I need to show the other riders too, like top 10, top 20, top 25. I show everybody. I don't know what you want me to do. I showed the lead battles. I showed the guys coming through the field who I thought would end up towards the front, and they did. I showed the crazy battle for second for a long time. I went back through the field a few times to try to find a few battles outside of the top 10. I gave an Evmoof update twice. All of that stuff is stuff that most regular TV programs would not do at all. So I try to mix it around and actually show some stuff. Yes, Ethan, I am going to Thunder Valley. I will be there. All right, 450 Moto 1 coming up. There you go. Ace Craft got off work just in time for that first 250 Moto. Love to see it. How did move front of 13 for quali and a 20 in the race? Because he's me reincarnated. I could always run a lap time like 4 or 5 seconds faster than my race time. I think it is crazy how consistent guys like Leclerc and Carter have been. I do, but let me tell you, Leclerc is on a different level than Carter when it comes to that consistency. When I won the only moto I've ever won in this game a decade ago, I beat Leclerc in that moto. A decade later, he is still the guy that is at the top of the series, and I am this idiot streaming to you. Like, a lot of the guys that Leclerc raced and started the series with are gone. Like, the only guy that's really, like, kind of left around from those days are Jeremy Smith and Devin Davis. Everybody else that Leclerc basically learned how to play the game on are moved on. So for him to adapt and still be at this high level in the game, unbelievable. Like, it blows my mind every time I see Leclerc have a good night and battle for a win and stuff, because gosh, I know where he was and where he came from, and to see him still this good a decade later is crazy to me. Kellen equals coverage. Do you think RJ Hampshire can put together a full season? I feel like Moto 2 of last weekend showed us exactly what his summer will be like. Highs and lows. I hope it's more consistent than that, and he had a very specific reason why he felt he went down in the second corner. They didn't redo the second turn at all. They left it super ruddy, and he came in at about 8th and didn't see where he was. Like, he didn't see any of the ruts in the corner because everyone was already blowing through the ruts on the inside and kicking up dirt. So he just went down on like high centering on a rut, which is really stupid. But then Adam Cianciarulo almost did the same thing and went outside of a rut to hit the outside line and slid out and went down in the second moto anyway. So I get why he went down, but I do think that that's kind of just RJ. Like, it unfortunately happens to him a lot where he has just moments. So yeah, hopefully we see a more consistent one. Biggie Cheese Gaming said, will A-Wood be commentating any outdoors rounds? Yeah, he was actually supposed to be here tonight, but he is he's currently dealing with a back injury. He actually got an MRI done today, and he's at home resting, so we wish him well. Did not want to drive all the way down and sit uncomfortably, or he basically needs a lay down, so he'd have to lay down and broadcast here tonight, and he just didn't want to do that, and I totally understand it. We wish him well and hope he gets better soon. So that's why no A-Wood here tonight, but maybe next week or maybe the week after that. We'll see. We need Kellen in the booth IRL. Funny story, I will actually... It's like 95% confirmed that I will be broadcasting with the Racer TV crew at the actual Loretta Lynn's this year. So all 6 days of racing at the ranch, I should be every day at some point on the broadcast crew for the Racer TV guys announcing the races. So should be fun in terms of getting me into the booth. All right, 450 Moto 1 on the gate. We'll run through and see everybody on the track. All right, here we go, folks. 450 Moto 1, let's get it. We are ready. We are set. 40 of the best 450 racers in the world are ready to do battle, and we're going to key in on Bryce Whelan because this guy knows how to start. Here we go from Hangtown. Little subdued start for Whelan. Up the inside, it was with Cowie. I'm going to see who gets there first. It's Jacob Hubbard with the Phil Ski and Snowboard hole shot. On the Phil Ski and Snowboard ride with the hole shot, I should say. I forgot to call it Alex, so I'll call it in the next moto, but it is Hubbard who leads off the start of this one, and he's got Trevor Burns, our fastest qualifier, right behind him. Burnsy on the District 36, 1.5 seconds faster than everybody else in qualifying, so keep an eye on this man. He might have an unbelievable night at the races if he can get away early, as Payson Johnson finally got some skins on him this week, and he's rocking those red plates after winning the opening round last week. He's got T-Lang on the 5 right behind him. Looks like Carter on the 9's also got a good start. Trying to see if I see Leclerc on the 7. I haven't seen another flash of the green in the background just yet. But we'll see if he comes through in a good position. So up the hill on the first lap, and we have lost our race leader. Hubbard went down somewhere, and Trevor Burns is out front at Hangtown. Now the real question is, does he mimic the times he was putting down in qualifying and sneak away here, or was that just the golden lap, or did he even have maybe some sneaky lines that he was taking that were getting him that lap that he's not going to be able to use in the race, or something along those lines? I have no idea, but we're about to see. I feel like that's just straight up pace, though. Burns is a really good rider, but he's riding so well here at Hangtown today. And Johnson's just trying to go with him. So the teammates, District Designs 1-2 right now. Back to third place right now. It's T-Lang, and there is Leclerc up the inside of Carter, so Leclerc does have a good start. 7 machine is in a solid position, and this is more or less all of our heavy hitters that we expected to be at the front of this one in the top 5 early on. Vial, who was strong last week at Fox Raceway, he's also in the mix just behind these guys. But, you know, if you expect to see Leclerc, Carter, Lang, Johnson at the front. Here they all are, and Trevor Burns leading them around right now. Our fastest qualifier. Man, these district boys are honestly already kind of gone. Really impressive stuff early in this moto. And Burnsy even opened up like a 2-second gap now on Johnson. But look at that. They are 7 seconds ahead of T-Lang after just one lap. So this is really impressive stuff, and we'll see if they're able to settle into that groove or if things will get crazy as Carter's under attack. Pablo Vial on the 27 around the outside trying to move into the top 5. Oh, front end over the berm, and down he goes. He's going to lose 1, 2, 3 spots. Maybe a 4th. No, not going to get there in time. Will Reno Brennan. So Vial slips back behind Boutigny, his fellow Frenchman. Aaron Rockefeller also went through as Carter and Leclerc just followed each other off the left side of the track right there. And Cooper Hunt, another District Designs rider with a great start on the 18. When Hunt was really solid last week as well at the opening round. So this is just another one of those District Designs riders we're going to see at the front. This looks to be a little bit of a Phil's District battle that we're going to have this year. And hopefully T-Lane can get in the mix. Laying under attack now from Leclerc. This is your championship battle from 2021 going at it. And Leclerc down the outside to the inside. Going to move into 3rd place. So Alexis Leclerc is on the move right now, but he's not moving fast enough to stick with our lead 2, which Burns still leads. So out front, 209.7, 210.7 for Johnson. And I'm curious to see what Leclerc puts down. That's not a solid line whatsoever, but a 2:12.7. So those guys already going 2 seconds or even 3 seconds a lap faster than what we're seeing out of 3rd and 4th, I should say, right now. Oh, someone's down though, and it's Payson Johnson out of the 2nd corner. On top of the plateau tabletop, he's going to get going just as Carter comes into view on the left side of your screen. And he will maintain 4th place ahead of Braden Carter. So Johnson loses P2 and falls right back into this really interesting battle with what I would maybe consider the 4 best outdoor riders in the world in this game right now. I know Carter isn't necessarily an outdoor specialist, but he was really good at Fox Raceway last week, and he's said many, many times that he's trying to be better at it. Lang, of course, our 2021 national champion. Is that Leclerc down off the berm? It is. I saw a bike just disappear off of view, so Leclerc went long at the bottom of the hill, and he's going to get going. Got to be careful with that track reentry right here, but he's okay. He's going to get going in 7th now, just ahead of Boutigny, but behind Hunt and Carter, who went by, as well as Johnson, who's back into 3rd place. So a tough break there for the 7 after a good start. He's going to have a little bit of work to do, as Johnson now goes to work on Lang for what will be 2nd place on the racetrack. And Burns is gone. Holy smokes, the 36 machine. And again, not to discredit Burns, I just didn't see this coming, I think. I know he's a good outdoor rider, and I know that he has the ability to do what he did, so I'm not doubting that it's really him doing those laps, but to the level in which that he put in qualifying, 1.5 seconds faster than everybody else, including teammate Payson Johnson, who is a qualifying king. And now in the race, even pulling away at this level, pretty gnarly. Johnson all over Lang now for 2nd. So let's see what the one machine can do. Is he going to find a spot to sneak up the inside and make a pass on Lang here? Great run out of that 2nd corner. Thought about maybe going to the right side of the track, switches back to the left. He's going to hook this inside rut really hard and make it look way easier than it should be to move into 2nd place. That is unbelievable how well he got that corner. So Johnson back into 2nd place in the span of 2 laps after his crash. Really a lap, I guess. He picked it up on the start of the 3rd lap. on that plateau tabletop, and the very next lap through was moving back into second place. So nice recovery. Now can he go catch his teammate is the question. About Cooper Hunt getting into the mix. Catching up to the rear tire of our 3-time and reigning Moto Option Supercross champion Braden Carter. Into the uphill rollers we go. Carter just ahead of Cooper Hunt. And they're kind of matching each other's lines so far. We'll actually go on board with Hunt here for a minute and take a look at what it's like from the 18 machine. So you can hear already, just in the few corners that I listened in right there, how different the 450s will sound on this racetrack compared to the 250s. The 250s, a lot of revving out, a lot of wide open everywhere. The 450 guys, they'll usually stay a gear or two high. They'll lug it through the corners. They never really let it get to the point where it's on the rev limiter. You know, you'll hear them in the air, obviously pinging off the rev limiter, just trying to keep the nose high coming into the landing and make sure you land with the tire spinning at full force, but you never beyond that hear them really just in a spot where they're going through a straightaway or a corner wide open. You're always shifting, you're always changing gears. 212.6 for Hunt that time by. So Carter 213.7, 213.5 out of Lang, a 209.4 out of Johnson has reset the fastest lap of the race. He is 12.4 seconds behind his teammate Trevor Burns. And District at the moment is really actually trying to put together a podium sweep in this moto if Cooper Hunt can get up in the mix. Really going to be interesting to see as this race progresses, though, that 12-second gap up to Burnsy, which has just now come down because Burns went down at the top of the hill. So it goes from 12 to 3.6 thanks to a fall there for Trevor Burns. And now Payson Johnson is smelling some blood in the water. Now the question for me at this point is, this is the stage in the race which a qualifying session typically lasts about 10 minutes of qualifying each time. You get about 4 or 5 laps each qualifying session leading up to the race. So this is at the point now where the track would be quote unquote at the worst that Trevor Burns has seen it in the day leading up to this race. Oh my gosh, what a save by Payson Johnson. Scrubbed into that corner, landed sideways with the rear tire clipping that jump, and then just left, right, straight on through a couple ruts, but nice job to keep it on 2 wheels. Anyway, back to the point about Burns. The track is going to get only worse from here than pretty much what he's been dealing with setting up the bike for this race all week, unless maybe he was doing some lonely 30s, but he would have to have at least 10 people in the server doing 30s with him to have the track be worn down this much. I'm curious to see how he reacts to the changing conditions as they get rougher and the track gets gnarlier. Payson Johnson has clearly said he doesn't care how rough the track gets. He's going to be sending it. And then T-Lane just hanging out behind him. Cooper Hunt alongside Alexis Leclerc in a battle for 4th. They have both gotten around Braden Carter, who slipped back to 6th. Inside, I like that line for Leclerc. It's not as much like emphasis or pressure to really rip that rut that's being established. You just kind of square the corner off, take the line less traveled and the shorter distance around the corner, but also just meter your throttle. You don't have to push, and you still get basically the same drive out of the corner. But Hunt getting away a little bit from Leclerc here. Curious to see if the 7 can get back up there and battle it out. So Viala slipped back to 7th. You got Jeremy Siebel right now in 8th on the 10, and Enzo Buttigni right behind him in 9th. And rounding out our top 10 is Aaron Rockefeller. Let's move back a little bit. Walter Gebhardt, our 4th fastest qualifier, is 11th. Another District Designs rider on the 338. Nico Marchini is 12th on the 74. He's the race Kush Racing hashtag I love Potence. So he is all about the Potence over there. Luke Sullivan, who had a pretty solid opening round, coming off a really strong end to his Supercross season, is 13th right now for TSCZ Productions. Kind of a lonesome ride at the moment, but he's got Chase Blakely on the 21 BPC ride behind him. And then a battle for 15th. Colby Eagland is way back here. Last week's Moto 2 winner. Of all the district riders you'd think is having the worst moto, I guess I would not have picked Colby Eagland. Though I don't know who I would have picked. Their team is pretty stacked. So Eagland's trying to make amends for that. Brandon Cocroft on the Fluid Racing machine is in 16th. Caleb Hall is behind him, is in 17th. Jared Gummison, the Mid-Atlantic Power Wash program, in 18th. Adam Holm has moved up to 19th after a so-so start. And Ethan Gerst of the District Designs program rounds out the top 20. So many district bikes strewn throughout the field. That's Rockefeller and Gebhardt going at it. And Rockefeller, for the time being, will get that spot. So Leclerc has finally disposed of Cooper Hunt, who has slipped back to Pablo Vial's grasps, which means that Carter obviously picks up a spot, and Leclerc now trying to close up on Lang. Gonna have two battles within battles as Johnson has taken over the race lead, and we missed it. I apologize, but Burns went down somewhere based on the gaps that I'm seeing, and Johnson has snuck into the race lead here just before the halfway mark. So is this another patented Payson Johnson moment where he gets the lead, and this is the last time we see him? Hangtown known for having huge gaps by the end of the motos. And I don't just mean for Eli Tomac. We've seen some races from other riders before where they put some big gaps on riders, including in MX Sims. So good to see it here with Johnson, but maybe, just maybe, not being fastest qualifier, his teammate Trevor Burns having that moniker. Burnsy could have something in store for him, or maybe we really get to talking about Burns not gelling with the track too much as it gets rougher. And really from here, it's only going to get gnarlier. We're at its halfway point of roughness. So everything you're seeing is going to get double as crazy. Deeper ruts, harsher braking bumps, and so on and so forth. No, Burnsy just trying to put it back together. Losing quite a bit of ground right now to teammate Payson Johnson ahead. All right, back to Leclerc versus Lang. That is certainly about to heat up. Oh, Lang off the track. And in the end, a pretty easy move for Leclerc into third place. Yeah, Lang just must have got that inside hip jump wrong. Seen it a couple times in the 250 class already here tonight. So Leclerc has moved into third place, but he's looking at a daunting task of trying to close down this 12-second gap to Trevor Burns, which he's going to do a pretty good job of it if he can. 2:11.7 last time by. It does his own personal best lap of the race, still trying to use that inside line to his advantage. But Burns is in the 13s. 209 his best, and then Johnson still in the 210s, you know, just barely on the outside of the 209 mark. So Leclerc definitely has some work cut out for him to get another position if he wishes to do so. And Leclerc certainly found the smooth line down that hill. It looked like he didn't even touch a bump. Oh, laying heavy on the front tire on landing. Carter tripling into the rollers. I figured someone would be able to do that based on the speed I'm seeing those guys carrying off of that tabletop. And now finally Carter proves that it is possible. Don't know if it's faster though, because you don't get the same level of drive going up the hill then. You lose a lot of forward momentum by just floating to that single, but then also you don't, get the same level of momentum by scrubbing the table. You have to pick it back up towards going up the hill, so maybe it works out about even. Oh, that is a lapped rider down. I thought it might be T-Lang, but it was not. T-Lang with a little flick scrub to landing. Jumping into that corner here. Inside, banks off that outside rut. Just inching away ever so slightly from Carter. Let's go find a battle. Jeremy Siebold closing up on Vial, but that's not too close. How about outside of the top 10 positions? Colby Eaglin looks like he's got Luke Sullivan just behind him. That's a fairly nice battle going on. I think that Eaglin had just gotten around him and is starting to get away. Oh, Rockefeller down in the ruts. So he'll pick it up and continue on. Caleb Hall, Ethan Gerst down. Castellaneta going to close up on him. Chase Blakely's off the track. Definitely a few more mistakes to be had as you go down the running order. And it's not because these guys are bad players whatsoever. You see any of them in your local servers and they are going to be shredding. But it's a different story when you get on the track with the Payson Johnson and Alexis Leclerc's of the world, because they just honestly make it look too easy. It really is not as easy as either of those guys make it look on the racetrack. So that's why you have to appreciate the greatness that they put together. More district stuff going on here. Walter Gebhardt has got Colby Eaglin finally closing up on him. Eaglin is coming up from 11th, trying to sneak into that top 10. Thinking of an inside move here, but High Center's on that rut and loses a little bit of time in the process. And runs over that rut and goes down. Thought about jumping to that inside line, and front end tuck goes down over the bars. While Leclerc was just down and picking it up alongside T-Lang side by side over the big double. Dooley scrubs. Leclerc to the inside will maintain position, but Lang going to be right there. And Burns has gone down now. He's behind Braden Carter, so Carter has moved to second. We've had a bit of a shuffling around, so this is actually your battle for fourth now, as they're going to drop down side by side into the middle part of the racetrack right here. Leclerc still controls the inside. Will Lang choose a different option? Nope, just goes to that same rut, just to the outside a little bit. So 10 minutes and 2 laps left to go, or a little under 10 minutes, I should say, in 450 Moto 1 of the RaceFactory Gaming Nationals and MX Simulator Professional Racing Championship. The Hangtown National in MX Simulator live here on Start Your Systems. They're sneaking away now from Lang, and Burns is trying to go back to the drawing board and close the gap down to Braden Carter. Carter going through the hay bales there a little bit, lost some ground. Burns sees that. He's going to try to jump to the inside and pass him, and he does with relative ease. Carter was making way too many mistakes down that straightaway. So now Carter loses a position, but goes right back to the drawing board in a sense to figure out how he's going to try to repass Trevor Burns. But Burns just said, I don't care what you try to do. I'm just going to leave. So as they hop through those rollers going up the hill, got some lap traffic moving aside, and Burns gets blocked by them, has to go to the outside, and Carter takes the position right back. So lap traffic, not their fault. They're just down in the main line. But that is what happens when you come up on these guys like this. Carter just made a big mistake. A nice job of saving it, but he's going to lose the position back to Burns, who's dealing with more lap traffic problems. Now Carter slides out and loses more time as Burns gets away. 18-second lead now for Payson Johnson, who is seemingly navigating through all of this lap traffic a little bit easier. While Burns getting kicked sideways on landing right there. Nice job to corral it together, though. Definitely snuck away from Carter in a hurry. So Carter must have gotten held up a little bit more than I thought. And in fact, it's actually Leclerc behind Burns now. So Carter really got hung up because he's gone from 2nd to 5th. He's now behind Lang, too. Excuse me. So tough break there for the 9. Didn't see where he went down or what exactly happened, but certainly fell behind rather quickly. And we got a report in chat that Johnson just went down, and he is with quite a few lapped riders as he picked it back up. So yeah, that gap is now down to 11 seconds. And Johnson, another fall-off crash late here could spell trouble. Don't know where or how he crashed, but trying to regroup and at least keep the lead maintained where it's at. Sounds like some more lapped riders are down at the bottom of the hill, and they're going to get going just as Johnson gets here. In fact, he almost jumped on one of them. And the other now is Hubbard on the 78, who is our hole shot man. Hubbard's going to swing to the outside and just allow Johnson to go right down the inside and move by. And next up is at the 70, I believe, of Anthony Pachone. It is. And oh, Johnson's down again. And lap traffic was not a factor there. He just crashed by himself. But that's really going to allow Burns back into the picture here. And Burns is bringing with him Alexis Leclerc. And Carter's not too far back of that. Lang must have, well, he just got passed by Carter by the looks of it. So it's tightening up here, folks. Johnson is not clear in a way going to win this thing anymore. Another crash, and he is out of the race lead. And a few more mistakes, and he might lose it anyway. Look at that. Another stand-up in the rut. Not looking too comfortable right now. And the lap traffic quite literally is everywhere right in front of him. No real comfortable place to go. 2 seconds back to Burns, 5 to Leclerc, 9 to Carter, and 10 to Lang. 10 seconds separating our top 5. With about 5-6 laps to go here in 450 Moto 1. Look at the lap traffic. 4 or 5 riders going into the second corner right now in front of Johnson. Where do you go? They're just right in front of him. And they're trying to move kind of, but then where do you go? It really is just such a tough situation to be in. They do a fairly decent job of letting him find his way through, and then they go back to battling, but now Burns has to deal with them. And he's trying to get to the inside here coming down the hill. But you can see Johnson just disappearing out of view on the screen going up the hill now as Burns, landing in that rut, almost gets kicked to the ground. Step up to the inside line right here. And there's Johnson going down the hill, now just about 2 seconds ahead of Burns. So this is a little nervous time here for Johnson, who had this lead pretty comfortably in hand, and then back-to-back crashes has really shuffled the table here. If he has another one, look out. This race could get wild in a hurry. So he's now extended back out to about 4 seconds over Burns. Seems to have done so with a little help from that lap traffic, though, because he got through them, and then they all had to deal with them, which certainly slowed them down. Hopping over those ruts, always a little bit sketchy, and we're all the way back. We've completed the circle of life here as Johnson is re-lapping Hubbard once again. And that time simply done just around the outside. Oh. It's always tough when you kind of clip that step-up landing going into the corner, because if you get a little sideways on it, there's every chance you go to the left. Clip that SpongeBob and go down. So 3 minutes and 2 laps to go, and the eyes are firmly fixed on Payson Johnson and whether or not he's going to be able to keep it on 2 wheels. Since he got it going again, Hubbard has just sat right in tow behind Johnson. Not really bothering him, but also not really giving him a lot of space. Johnson working on pulling back away as Leclerc has moved into second place. He's gotten around Trevor Burns. who has now slipped back to third, but he's dealing with pressure from T-Lang on the 5. They both scrub it down dualies. And Carter has lost touch with his group. He's 7 seconds back of this battle that you're watching on your screen now. Oh, Burns down. Great reactions from Lang not to get into him. And will Carter also make it through before Burns picks it up? He will not. Carter must have... Yeah, he was down actually on the uphill right there. So actually, here comes Jeremy Siebold trying to sneak into a late top 5 here on Carter, who has really kind of blown this thing. Oh, lap traffic. More lap traffic. Pachon trying to get out of the way. Oh, that's Burns down. And that is Carter up into 4th. As Burns is coming unglued a little bit here after qualifying fastest. The moto's not really coming together the way he had hoped. So go back to our leader, Johnson, who is going to have Blakely and another lap rider right in front of him. They just scooted to the left side of the track in time as Johnson jumped down the hill to the inside line there. Oh my, Johnson, I thought he almost clipped that SpongeBob as he oppo whipped to the left. Now up to the top of the hill, scrubbing it down, just trying to land cleanly in the ruts and hook a left. And drop back down, and he is going to get there with probably about 45 seconds left on the clock. So definitely a lot faster than we saw in the 250 moto, but crucially still 3 to go this time by for Johnson. 3 laps that he has to maintain and not have another late mistake because Leclerc is back there hoping for the opportunity. Burns, Siebold right behind Carter as Vial just navigates around Ethan Parks ever so slightly right there, and Cooper Hunt just behind Pablo Vial. Burns down again in the rollers, picking it back up. So Trevor Burns having less than 0 fun right now. Everyone's pretty spread out now as we have seen time expire. 13.6, 16.3 last time by. So Leclerc going slower than Johnson. He's going to need help if he wants to beat the #1 machine here in 450 Moto 1. And again, you can see just how much this track has developed and how different, like some of these ruts were relatively smooth to start off the moto, and as the track wears in even more and more, it turns into choppy, notchy ruts that are not very fun to really lay into. But you gotta push through them. Johnson running into some more lappers. Nicely done by the lap riders here so far, as Adam Holm goes a lap down there on the 17. But good job of, as soon as they get the blue flag, they see who's coming. They're pretty keen to move off the racing line and out of the way in a pretty quick succession. So nicely done for all of our lap riders out there so far. Oh, from bad to worse for Trevor Burns, who was leading this moto at one point. He is down again. 2:49 last lap through. Down to P8 now, so just not having much fun is the 36 machine. And down again. We might be on the verge of a rage quit soon as Cooper Hunt was also down. Oh my gosh, who is that? Is that Gebhardt? Gebhardt just enduro manning off the inside line of the track and all over teammate Cooper Hunt. Oh, I thought that was more coming together than it was. So the District Designs boys still finding each other, even if it's not for the lead anymore, as Burns has fallen back behind Gebhardt and Cooper Hunt. So while their battle continues, oh, another district rider. Look at that. Colby Eagland into the top 10, bringing Enzo Buttigni with them. Right behind them in 11th now. So if you're Buttigni, this top 10 is certainly tantalizing, and you have nobody behind you for quite a while. So use these last 2 laps effectively. As Burns goes back after Gebhardt. Gebhardt would love... Gosh, Burns was like underneath him there on that jump. Gebhardt would love to go after Cooper Hunt. Rips that rut cleanly. Inside line up the hill on Hunt. Oh, contact, and down he goes. Yes, and he takes Burns with him as Burns falls off the bike. Little, perhaps overzealous from Gebhardt, knowing where Cooper Hunt was going to be going on that jump, I feel like. So Colby Eagland senses... an opportunity to make a pass on a couple of his teammates. Moves a little bit more closer in the running to them. Back up front, there's Leclerc dropping down the hill, and not too far behind Johnson as it runs, coming to the white flag, 4 seconds in it. Johnson's made a few mistakes. I don't know if he had a full fallout crash, but he is only down to 3.2 ahead of Leclerc, so this has a potential to get weird on the final lap of the race. Johnson takes the white flag with 3 seconds in hand over Alexis Leclerc. Well, this is the battle you kind of expect this season to come down to. But weird ways of them getting there, as Johnson has been in and out of the lead a few times this moto. Got it, pulled a big lead, crashed 3 times now, and has nearly slipped off the lead as Leclerc has gotten up into the mix. But then Leclerc was in second early on, crashed back to 5th, got back to 3rd, crashed again. Now he's all the way back to 2nd again. And just hoping for some late race drama here out of Payson Johnson, if it is all possible. Johnson just trying to still hit his marks. He's been taking a few different lines than we've seen, like Leclerc in the background there, outside all the way down the hill, outside at the bottom of the hill as well. And Johnson was going inside and kind of hopping into that inside rut, which I think is slower, but it maybe to him is just safer. It's a slower pace. You can know that you're going to control it as the rear end kicks out a little bit right there. This is a few mistakes here for Johnson creeping through, and it just takes one rut going wrong, one kick out, one awkward moment for this thing to come unglued. But it looks like he's maybe trying to take it slightly easier. Leclerc is even sensing opportunity to close this thing down and get it close late. I feel like Johnson's just really making sure he doesn't put it on the ground, and Leclerc doesn't care about that. He is throwing caution to the wind. It's down to 2.5 seconds with about 4 corners to go. Lap traffic moving aside as Johnson jumps down the hill into all those ruts. And as long as he gets through these 2 corners safe, he should be good. Inside rut clean. Another rut there. Leclerc has got this thing really close down the stretch as Johnson goes off the wall jump one more time past the mechanics area. And it's going to be his first Moto win of the season as Payson Johnson wins Moto 1 at Hangtown. Leclerc follows through 1.4 at the flag. So penalties could factor in. We'll have to see, but I assume that that will stay status quo. Tyler Lang, certainly his best moto of the year thus far. Gonna wrap this one up in 3rd by the looks of it. And then Seabolt versus Carter, a couple Supercross champs looking for 4th place in this one. Now, who's gonna get it? Will it be the 10 or will it be the 9? Could this turn into a drag race as well? Look at that. Carter, different line, turns it into the far inside here, but Seabolt got that inside really clean. Carter slipped the rear tire out, coming through the corner. So final straightaway, Seabolt just on the gas, goes middle, and will secure the 4th position as Carter rounds out the top 5. Vial right behind them in 6th. Cooper Hunt looks to have 7th under wraps with Colby Eagland in 8th. Trevor Burns went all the way back to 9th, but he may lose that spot as well because he has Luke Sullivan right behind him on the 11. So Sullivan wants a piece of Trevor Burns for the final spot inside of the top 10. Or is this for 9th, I should say. Outside to in, and Burns blows the corner. Sullivan kind of went off the track as well, and now he goes down. Burns is going to get there as Sullivan tries to right the ship. And here comes Walter Gebhardt around the outside trying to get into the top 10. Final straightaway for these two. Oh, Gebhardt absolutely launches to flat and goes down. So Sullivan retains the top 10 position. Gebhardt goes down, but it's fine. He will maintain 11th there with Caleb Hall 12th. Boutigny 13th, and Castellaneta will be the last guy on the lead lap there in P14. 15th was Ethan Gerst, first guy lap down. Aaron Rockefeller in 16th. Adam Holmes 17th. Austin Schaefer puts himself on the box in 18th. Jacob Hubbard in 19th, and Kevin Frazeka in 20th. If you want to be funny, you could say Schaefer got the reverse podium here because he picked up 3 points in this moto. So if 20th was first, he got 3rd place in the moto. Looking through a few of the other guys outside of the points bank positions. Not really too many surprises. I guess Bryce Whelan DNF is a little weird. Chris Post didn't look too good early on and then was lapped early, so he definitely fell further back. Let's take a look at our results in the top 20, see if anything changed on penalties. Nope. Nothing changed. In fact, Leclerc had 2.5 seconds of cuts and Johnson had none. So Johnson handily wins the first moto in the end. And that is Moto 1 of the 450s from Hangtown. All right. Back in studio, we are about to go as we get ready for 250 Moto number 2. And we are here, folks, ready to go. As Payson Johnson drops by the chat room to say that the lappers were the reason when he went down so many times, got taken out a few times. I know he was hung up a few times with the lappers. So clearly frustrating situation, but he did hold on for the win. And takes his first moto win of 2023. And extends his championship lead as well. He was 1 point up on Leclerc going into this one. So now he leaves unofficially 4 points up because they don't tally points until the end of the day. But, you know, you could theoretically say if they just chop the championship right here, he'd be up by 4. So we're ready to go for second motos, guys. Let's get ready. And as always, be sure to stay hydrated, folks. Always keep a nice, hefty glass of water next to me up here at all times to make sure that getting the hydration in me that I need. Never want to be caught out with a little bit of dehydration. All right, so a quick reminder from our first 250 moto, what we're looking at heading into Moto 2. Cade Matherly picked up the win, but it was Max Chwalik and Colin Allen right behind him in second and third. Seth Carr and Seth Shirley rounded out the top 5 with Logan Leitzel 6th, Johan Bordeaux 7th, Tanner Rogers 8th, Bodie Parker 9th, and Matthias Janis rounding out our top 10. Trent Adams, Hayden Stevenson, Braden Tharp, Johnny Padani, Alec Horn, Tom Quino, John Heilman, Frank Jackson, Ben Seberg, and Alex Zellner were our top 20. So that's everyone who scored points in the first moto, and we'll see what happens now in the second moto. So we roll in. No, S Racing 88. Johnson went 2-2 last week, and the moto wins were Leclerc and Eagland. Yes, Leclerc and Eagland. And Johnson went 2-2 to win the overall. Yes, Jerry McDonald, this is definitely a cup of vodka. If I were to drink all of this and it was vodka, I would not be living by the end of the evening. Say what you want about Priya Road, but it's definitely more interesting to look at. Look, I've said it a few times on the broadcast here tonight. I am really happy with the first 2 tracks of the year. As rough as they are, the lines, the way that they're working out, to force these guys around a lot more. I feel like we're seeing guys not always staying in the same ruts the entire moto. Like, yeah, you can hammer the main line, but it's pretty gnarly by the end. So I love what the RaceFactory Gaming track crew has done so far this year. And I'm looking forward to, as we get to more of the East Coast tracks that are more hilly and, you know, like even Thunder Valley next week, all those off-camber corners with all the ruts in them used to be so fun when they would have a lot of pre-made ruts and stuff like that. So hopefully it's the same thing moving forward and we see more of that. It's really cool so far. Is that a beer boot for your glass of water? Yeah, technically it is. I don't actually remember where I got this. Maybe it was Oktoberfest now that I think about it. So clearly beer boot if it's from Oktoberfest. Yeah, I mean, even solo, you're newer to sim and you're agreeing that you like these tracks. Like the catch-22 was that newer players were always frustrated with how rough and gnarly the pre-made national tracks were, but they're supposed to be difficult. They're supposed to be arguably the hardest tracks in the game to be good at. So, you know, if you want high-speed, fast, fun, flowy tracks, there's thousands of them on the forums to go through and find. But if you want to be good at nationals in this game, you're gonna have to deal with rough tracks. So I definitely like it. Nice SYS kit. Oh yeah, just me sitting on the gate chilling. Good stuff. Shout out to Alex Heckman for always making me look fresh. So Seth Shirley in danger of losing the red plates here without a good result in the second moto. Cade Matherly looking for the moto sweep. Max Chwalik looking for his first career overall win. And Logan Leitzel hoping for something different because Moto 1 was not his vibe. I have a plan here that I'm going to try. Go to here and we're going to do 20. We'll do 20 for field of view. And I'm going to try something when the moto starts and see if you guys like it. If I can get there fast enough, I might not get... I'm going to try to go to the top of the hill over there and key in on people off the start so we get kind of like a far away view of the start. I did it once before here at Hangtown, but I really need to like load in quick and get up there. I know you guys love the start just above the... looking just above the box, but we'll see. No, Ian, just one red plate in 450s. Johnson went into tonight's round 1 point up in the championship, so he had sole possession of the red plate. Oh, sorry, just gotta scratch the back every now and again. All right, let's see if I can get all the way across the track to do this. 250 Moto 2 graphic up. Moto timer ready. Done. All right, in. And I gotta hurry, gotta hustle. Oh, it's so slow. Just keep backing up as we drop the gate. Who's gonna get that whole shot? It's like the helicopter cam right here, folks. It's like Caden Speck is gonna get the whole shot through the Studio 8 whole shot award line. So it's Speck leading here on the first lap, and we're doing a little bit of helicopter cam action as they come up to the top of the hill on the first lap right here. Look at that. Tharp up alongside on the inside. And it's going to be Tharp taking the early race lead away. So that is what it looks like from the top of the track to watch these guys start in 250 Moto 2. And Braden Tharp trying to turn it around from the first moto. With a great start in this one, but it was Caden Speck with the whole shot. I once again forgot to call it, so I apologize, Alex. I'm letting you down. But Studio 8 whole shot award once again going to Mr. Caden Speck. So Shirley with a better start this time around. He's in fourth, right in the mix. Seth Carr, who was battling for the win at one point in the first moto, and then slip back to fourth. Eventually is in third early in this one, but stacks it up in the corner. Shirley has to take some evasive maneuvers, and passing him in the process is Johnny Padani. Shirley back to the inside, trying to get around Padani as they've closed up behind Spec. We're going to have 5 guys in the air at the same time. Nice. Looks solid. Padani shuts the door, but then Shirley goes tight inside. Loses a spot, though, because Carr was able to squeak on through. And here comes Balzer as well on the 35. Right up alongside Shirley to the top of the hill. With Janice on the 14 as Balzer goes down to the outside. Oh, front end tuck. Padani doesn't fall off the bike, but definitely lost some time. So let's reset it here. Coming down to lead the first lap of 250 Moto 2. It is going to be the 20 machine of Braden Tharp, the TSCZ Productions, backed by Takatoji Honda. Oh, beautiful scrub. Absolutely flying to the back of the track here on the gas all the way around that outside line up to the top of the hill. Tharp is sneaking away as Seth Carr has moved into second place through all the crashing. Seth Shirley now third with Janice right behind him in fourth. Trying to see if I can see where our champ is, the number 1 of Logan Leitzel, not off to the best of starts again, but I think he's a little bit further up this time. He was outside the top 30 in Moto 1 off the start. This time through, I think he's a little bit more in the mix. We'll have to see where he is in the running order as Janice swaps into the corner. Nice job to pull it together and not go down. And Trent Adams now sits right behind him. It's Seberg, Spec, Spicer, and then our Moto 1 winner, Matherly, coming down the hill in about 9th right now. Trying to make the pass on Sonny Spicer around the outside, going up the hill. Being on the power. Will control the inside, going to the top as he crosses over with Spicer. And Leitzel 2 spots behind them in 11th, just behind Evan Steins. So Matherly trying to march forward similar the way that he did in the first moto, whereas Leitzel going to make a couple passes right here. He just got around a down rider, didn't see who it was, and then also gets around Steins to move into, looks like 9th position. Oh, and then hits Steins and goes down. Crossover line for Leitzel does not work in his favor. And the defending champ is on the ground, losing several positions. Another rough moto to start things off for Logan Leitzel. Really not been his night here at Hangtown. So he is just going to be in a world of traffic trying to work his way forward. See so many guys still nose to tail in this group. There's Chwalik, who's behind Spicer. So Matherly has moved into, I believe, 7th now. Yes, this is 7th. And let's go ahead and take this opportunity to back out the camera a little bit. The 7th now for Matherly. He is right behind Ben Seberg, who is in 6th. So for Matherly, this is ample opportunity to try to win this overall today with the scores all mixed up all over the place. I mean, surely a 5th in the first moto. And if you're Matherly, you just basically need to finish inside of the top 5 and you'll probably get it. Because Colin Allen, nowhere to be seen. Chwalik a few spots behind Matherly at the moment. And Matherly gets around Seberg to get into 6th as I say that. So next up for him, Trent Adams in 5th. Janice 4th. Shirley 3rd. And then Carr in 2nd. Battle for the lead is on. Tharp versus Seth Carr. Carr, remember, was 4th in the first moto. So he stands to be in the mix for this overall win as well, if he could get around Tharp and go for this win. Still plenty early on that there's a lot of racing left to be had, but man, oh man, Seth Carr wants the lead. It's pushed off the track a little bit, but then settles in right behind anyway. And Seth Shirley back there just licking his chops, hoping that these two get together so he can comfortably take the lead. Inside move for Seth Carr to the lead, and he's got it. Tharp kind of blew the split section And once he did so, he was committed to that outside line and had to go out there. Lost quite a bit of time doing it. In fact, not only goes from the lead, he's going right into the clutches of his teammate Shirley in a hurry. Seth Shirley is trying to find a way through on Braden Tharp. Outside to in move for Tharp here. Not quite close enough just yet to try to get back in the lead, but he's certainly giving Carr a run for his money. Carr jumps off the track in the mechanics area. Tharp and Shirley are going to try to go by. Shirley with the inside line just can't quite get it, but it will be Tharp who leads another lap, and then he goes down. And Shirley up the inside trying to get around Carr, but Carr maintains the race lead. Back and forth we go, and it's Seth Carr once again leading at Hangtown. 7 minutes down, 23 minutes and 2 laps still to go in 250 Moto 2. So Shirley going to settle in now and try to figure out his lines, see what's comfortable and what doesn't work, and maybe have a run after our race leader, Seth Carr. So it really is a battle of the Seths, as Harrison13 in chat has pointed out. And Tharp would like something to say about that. Adams, Chwalik, Seberg, Bordeaux, Janis, and then Matherly. So Matherly's lost a few positions. It's like he's slipped back into 8th spot as Bordeaux goes to the inside tough blocks right there. Gets back on, blocks Matthias Janis, and now Matherly is going to close up right behind these guys. 3 riders nose to tail coming down the hill. Oh, and that's Janis going down. So a few riders will go by as he tries to right the ship. Actually, just 2 riders going to go by, Luke Fowler and Sonny Spicer. So Matherly goes back to the drawing board on Johan Bordeaux, as Ben Seberg just hanging in here up the road a little ways. Then you got Chwalik all over Trent Adams. And remember, Chwalik factors in for potential overall implications as well with that second in the first moto. And right now, battling for 4th place is the Polish rider on the Phil Ski and Snowboard Kawasaki. Oh my goodness, Chwalik almost double whipped himself to death off of that wall jump to flat. Losing touch with Adams a little bit because of those mistakes. So Carr versus Shirley is still the battle to watch on the track out front right now. Oh, mistake for Seth Carr right there. Seth Shirley is certainly going to close the gap down a little bit more because of that. Carr is the epitome of loose but fast right now on this racetrack. Kind of hanging it out a little bit, sliding out of ruts a little bit early, but bike humping his way through the braking bumps to maintain traction on that rear tire and momentum going forward. Yeah, Tharp is also keen to make a run at Shirley again. So this front trio really can't get away from each other. It seems like every time Shirley makes a run towards Carr, he makes a few mistakes. Tharp gets on him. Then Tharp starts pushing to Shirley, so that pushes Shirley back towards Carr, and then it's just a never-ending yo-yo effect. But at some point, it's going to end, and we're going to figure out which direction it's going to go. Will one of these 2 TSCZ riders get around Seth Carr to take the lead, or is Carr maybe going to sneak away finally and open up enough of a gap that it's comfortable? Kudos to Seth Carr for regrouping a few times here. He's made a couple mistakes, but every single time he's made those small bobbles, he rights the ship and pulls out that same gap that he had before, basically in the span of a few corners. So certainly has the speed in hand. And the question is whether the consistency will remain there, especially as the track gets worse. We're only 11 minutes into this moto. There's still a lot of racing left, and the track will change quite a bit from now until the end of this race. It resets every single time the server restarts. The track resets back to its base setting, base state basically, which is the way that the track builders had built the track. But then the road system in the game, it's hard to tell, but it is digging the lines out. It is digging bumps deeper. It's making choppier sections in each corner. And so because of that, these guys will have to change up their lines and search around and find things that work as the moto goes on. It's not always what you start with is what you end with. So curious to see as the race goes on if Shirley or Carr are which one of them is the better at adapting to those changing situations. They're really starting to inch away from Tharp now, though, so clearly they found a little extra gear to get away from the 20 machine, and it feels like Shirley himself is the one that's really found the extra gear to try to go after Carr. 14 flat last time by versus a 14.9. But Carr was in the 12s for his best lap, only a 13.2 for Shirley, and the track is probably about as best as it's going to be right now, so this could be the best lap for both of them this time by. Keep an eye on that. And Shirley kind of blows that whole section apart, which gives a pretty substantial lead now to Seth Carr. So 4-second advantage, but Tharp didn't seem to get through those sections very clean either. So Chwalik now in 4th. We're looking at 2-4 scores for Max Chwalik, whereas Seth Carr is on a 4-1 as it runs. There's still plenty of racing left for this thing to flip around. You got Adams in Bordeaux with Matherly now 7th. So Matherly sitting on a 1-7 stands to maybe not finish on the box today as it runs. Actually, I think he would tie with Seth Shirley, and Shirley would have the better second moto result. So Matherly's got to get it going. Speaking of getting it going, man, we have got to figure out what's going on with Logan Leitzel here today at Hangtown. The defending champ was certainly more on his game at the opening round at Fox Raceway. I don't know if it's been his limited playing time or just a combination of bad starts and getting caught out by a few riders trying to pass him or him pass them situations, but Leitzel has been off today for sure. 14th place right now. He was 6th in the first moto, and that's coming from 32nd place. So that was a solid effort, but man, you just hope that meant the second moto he would start up front and stay up front. But the second moto so far has been kind of going backwards. He did crash and pushed him outside of the top 20, and he went forwards again, but then he was almost into the top 10, and then he crashed his way back to 14th now. So Leitzel not really feeling the flow here at Hangtown for whatever reason. And if you're him, this is turning into a bit of a survival race where you just get through it with any amount of decent points and roll into some tracks maybe you're a little bit more comfortable with Thunder Valley and High Point just around the corner. Outside line for Leitzel. Let's see if this works. Yeah, it does. Nicely done. Into 13th around Tom Quinault. So we'll check back in on the defending champ's progress. Good little fight here between Padani and Hayden Stevenson just outside of the top 10. Stevenson lays it into that outside rut. Stevenson to me is a guy that's really solid when it comes to consistency. Doesn't blow me away with the flash, but consistent rides for sure. As Seberg is lopsided in this corner a little bit, had the front end over that rut, so is having to back up into the main line to get the ship righted again, and sort of backed into the way of Stevenson and Padani going by, but they were both able to skirt through on the inside and hold positions. Actually gained a spot, I should say. Solid effort in this moto so far for Luke Fauser. Yeah, Fauser did not finish the first moto, 37th for the 82 ride. This time through in 9th, looking to score some good points here. And yes, that is the real Luke Fauser. who's also KTM Orange Brigade Amateur Ripper in real life, and he's going to move to 8th because Matthias Janis was down. So it's always fun to see some more familiar faces, either from the amateur scene or the professional racing scene, come around and try their hand at MX Simulator. But Fowler's been doing this for, I think, a couple years now. Got that national number 82 last year. Had the chance to briefly meet him at Redbud last year. Nice kid. Matherly all over Trent Adams right now, trying to go to the outside. That's going to turn into a pass in the end. Adams made a few mistakes going up the hill by the looks of it. So Matherly now up to 6th. Looking at a 1-6 performance today, as Shirley is down at a 2nd spot. Facing the wrong way, he's going to pick it up in 3rd. And Carr has gone down as well. So Tharp is into the race lead again. And if you're Tharp, a 13th in Moto 1 takes you out of the overall situation, but just rebound for this moto. Be good stuff for him to have a nice second one and maybe get this win. For us, it makes the overalls so confusing. 4-2 for Carr. Shirley is on a 5-3, so he's too far back. And then a 2-4 for Chwalik. Matherly now on a 1-5. Matherly is in position to win the overall as it runs. So we're going to have to see what Seth Carr is capable of. We'll go on board, actually, with the Covenant ride. 224 flat last time by, so he went down. And then, of course, Shirley went down on this lap. So Shirley must have momentarily been in the lead before he crashed. I don't know if there's a better lap for Carr or not. Let's take a look. 16.3, 16.7, so kind of matching Tharp. But it is tightening up just a little bit. He's gained almost a second since we started going on board with him to our race leader. Yeah, the gap continues to come down. He's hitting his marks pretty well. Getting in and out of corners really smooth. Little extension right there, but I think he'll probably gain it back with nice downhill right here. Yeah, got kicked out a little bit. And he's taking the pacing approach. He's going right side of the track, hugging the SpongeBobs, and then hitting this inside line. I mean, theoretically, you only lost a 10th, so if you're pacing and you feel that's safer, I get it. Ooh, Ryder down, and Carr's down as well. Case the landing of that double. And I think whoever it was that was down on the inside disconnected anyway, so Carr may have gone right through them. But hey, here comes Seth Shirley and Max Chwalik. Chwalik is now into 3rd place, knocking on the door for 2nd. And if he goes 2-2 to a 1-5 out of Matherly, that will be enough for the overall win for the Filski and Snowboard Kawasaki of Max Chwalik. So with 10 minutes left to go in this moto, the overalls hang in the balance. As Shirley moves up into 2nd, he is on a 5-2 at the moment. And Seth Carr now going 4-4. Is Matherly still in 5th? He is, and he is relatively comfortably in 5th. Not going to be able to catch this group as it currently stands. So I think it's really down to what Chwalik is able to do, or even Seth Carr. If Seth Carr could go back up and get into the lead. Because it's not as though Tharp is gone. So it's Shirley, Chwalik, Carr, 2, 3, 4 on your screen right here. And Shirley holding that championship lead, which he may continue to do so based on the way that the overalls are going to work out today. Carr is right on Chwalik, looking to pounce, goes inside. at least saying, hey, I'm here. Let me see if I can figure something out. Goes middle rut, 3 different lines right there. And it ends up almost even between all of them coming out. Oh, Chwalik is going down, though. He tried to hook that inside line. I think he was trying to make that pass on Shirley. And that's going to push him back to 4th. And Matherly is not going to be too far behind now. So this is quickly going to turn into quite the weird overall situation as Seth Carr just bombarded his way down that hill. Lap traffic coming into play. Tharp just got around 2 guys. So we'll start to see more of that as we progress into the final stanza of this race. As Tharp is down! Cross-rutted and landed in transition between the split section. Here comes Seth Shirley, who will take the lead as Seth Carr funnels in right behind him. 3-rider battle out front. So it's Shirley, Tharp, Carr, 1, 2, 3, all on your screen right now, battling for the lead. Oh, Carr sliding to that outside rut. Tharp, wow, right on the rear tire of Shirley. I thought he might try to make a move. Looks like he's keen not to follow his teammate, that's for sure. What a battle we have brewing. And a lot of it still hangs with the balance of the overalls, which Shirley might have now taken over with a 5-1. So it's Seth Shirley coming down, who will lead his first lap of this moto to complete lap number 10. But Braden Tharp is giving him the business from behind, and Tharp thought about an inside move on the finish line jump, had to cut back across, and they'll funnel into the same line again. And don't forget, Seth Carr is still right back there, so if these two teammates get into each other, Seth Carr is hoping to be right there for the picking. Big scrubs off this floater tabletop, down past the lake into the long sweeper up the hill, up to the highest point of the racetrack here. Looking down the circuit. Shirley dealing with all this pressure from Tharp. Oh yeah, Cade has moved into 4th, so apologies. Thank you, Potash, for that in chat. I did not realize he got around Chwalik, but he has. So even so, Matherly is in position to win the overall, but it now doesn't matter either because Tharp has moved back into the race lead with a beautiful inside pass. He just forced the issue, made sure Seth Shirley would not get that inside line instead of him. And Shirley slips back to 2nd, but don't forget Seth Carr's still right there, and Shirley wants another piece at the lead. Drag race up the hill. 1, 2, 3 on your screen, and is that Matherly coming up the hill right behind them? No, he's a little further back than that, so that was a lap rider on a Yamaha behind these guys. So what's going to happen in the next few moments here? Is Shirley going to be able to close that gap back down? Is Tharp going to extend? I feel like Seth Carr wants to get back into this and give them a piece of his mind a little bit. Because if Carr can win this moto, if he goes around both of these guys, he would win the overall. As long as they stay between himself and Cade Matherly. So if you're Seth Carr, you're just looking at your destiny right in front of you. If you can make 2 passes, you win this moto and you win the overall at the Hangtown National in MX Simulator. Final 5 minutes plus 2 laps coming up. Strap in, folks. Enjoy this battle because this is a good one. It's not often you get 3 guys absolutely going for it for a moto win, but to each of them it means something a little bit different. For Shirley to help try to maintain his points cushion, for Tharp to turn around a rough first moto, and for Seth Carr to maybe claim his first overall win. As he goes around the outside, that's going to give him 2nd. Shirley had kind of slid out, or I guess just swapped coming into the corner and did not get the drive on exit. So Seth Carr took advantage and moves into 2nd place. And Matherly has slipped back to 5th. So Chwalik went back by. Chwalik sitting on 2-4 to Matherly's 5-1. Matherly still in position right now to claim the overall. But as I say that, Seth Carr has gotten Tharp for the lead, and Seth Carr goes to the overall position. Musical positions at the front of the field. Seth Carr leads once again at Hangtown. Final 4 minutes and 2 laps coming up. And do Tharp or Shirley have anything left in the tank? Look at that outside that they are just pushing. Seth Carr is trying so hard to get a gap established between he and Braden Tharp. Down the hill, Tharp got the rear end to kick out a little bit. I think Carr actually momentarily went off track. Well, now Tharp goes off track, and Shirley almost ran into the rear tire. And then Carr just made a mistake coming down the hill that cost him a little bit of time, but not too much. So now we're seeing a little bit of that extension in the gap. It's not nose to tail so much anymore, but still anything could happen in this group. A little mistake here, a little bobble there, and suddenly the whole complexion of this race changes, as well as the overall. Matherly has moved back into fourth, but remember, as it stands, he's on a 1-4 to a 4-1 for Seth Carr. So Carr, with the better second moto result, winning the second moto would be the tiebreaker in that scenario to win the overall here today. So if you're Matherly, you're just like, please, Tharp or Shirley, make the pass. Or maybe make it really rough and tumble up there and allow Matherly to catch that group. He's pretty far back, though. I think it'd be a little too much, 19 seconds to make up. So Seth Carr, 4-1 potential scores on the docket. And a big overall win here at Hangtown. If he can hold on for a few more laps. As it's Tharp and Shirley still giving chase. And it's very nip and tuck, man. It's really close between these guys. And Carr just made another mistake coming down the hill. Tharp nailed that inside rut really well. And he's hooking this inside rut right here also. And suddenly, there's not much in it for the race lead. Now there might not be anything in it. Tharp is going to retake it going up the hill. And that changes the overalls again. So Braden Tharp retakes the race lead as we continue to go back and forth at the front here at Hangtown. Carr and Shirley follow each other in. Carr's down. Shirley's into him. They're both down and both off the bike. That's going to give Tharp a huge advantage. And it may secure the overall win for Matherly as they both roll over this tabletop and continue on, with Tharp a huge advantage, not factoring in for the overall. 13th in the first moto for Tharp. So he will be rather lucky to get on the podium. But if you're Seth Carr, you needed to win this moto with Matherly sitting in the 4 spot, I should say. So now the 1-4 of Matherly as it runs, excuse me, is enough to give it to him. And even if he were to lose another position to Twalick, a 1-5 would still get it done. Because a 2-3, or a 2-4, I should say, is 40 points, which is what Seth Carr is on. But a 1-5 is 41 points. So Matherly is pretty comfortable in position because Johan Bordeaux's pretty far back. As long as Seth Carr doesn't win this moto, Matherly is going to win this overall. And now Twalick just went down. Oh, excuse me, that was a lapper, but Twalick almost went down as 2 lappers got together. Cade Matherly in line for this overall win as Shirley gets around Seth Carr for second. And Sonny Spicer remounting off track on the inside right there, a lap down. Oh, Seth Carr almost on the rear tire of Shirley over the line. Really close between those two. And remember, if they get together again, Matherly's just going to pick up some more positions. Huge whip for Seth Shirley as time has expired, but these guys did beat the clock this time around. Carr almost had the pass made, but slid out. Look at this inside move for Carr. Not quite close enough. I thought he might consider that inside line that Tharp was taking. It seems like Seth Carr's setup is maybe just a little bit too bouncy for the current conditions of the track because he's losing a lot of rear wheel traction coming out of corners now. See if this line works down at the bottom of the hill. Outside, charging, scrubbing, landing hard on the gas, not quite close enough. And you see Shirley landing on that rear tire the way Shirley does right there, as stylish as it looks, is really all about keeping the rear tire as planted as possible and not having any drag with the front wheels. So you're essentially mad skills motocrossing up the hill, limiting the drag of the motorcycle and having maximum traction with the rear tire. And it's a way to just get that little extra oomph when you don't have the same level of drive that Seth Carr had by being able to go to the outside at the bottom of the hill. So I've seen Shirley do it a few times, just figured I'd explain that to people watching if you're confused what he's doing. Seth Carr just wants so desperately to win this moto, and he's going to be really bummed with the way it's kind of fallen apart here late. Had a chance for the overall. Is that Tharp picking it up from a crash? No, he was just getting through the lapped riders, but he doesn't seem to be as far in front. Well, still 7.5. As Shirley on that inside rut, and here comes Carr thinking inside again as they go off the wall jump. Nearly side by side. Carr is going to power through to the inside and make the pass as they work through lap traffic again. So now the 2-lap board comes out. Up underneath goes Shirley to get back around Seth Carr, who blew the corner after the finish line jump. Oh my goodness, it just continues to change. And now Matherly and Chwalik absolutely in a dogfight right now for 4th place. Again, this isn't for the overall win anymore, but it is still for points. And holy smokes, Chwalik! Oh, he's down. He almost like 360 underflipped out of a scrub right there. Crazy maneuver, but a nice job to not lose a position in the end, I suppose. So we go back to this battle for the 2 spot. Seth Carr and Seth Shirley. The battle of the Seths is what it's really been, as the final lap and a half is circulating for Braden Tharp, trying to make amends for a rough first moto where he finished 13th, and get a win in this one would be huge. So this is critical here, because if Tharp were to go down, it would give Seth Carr the lead and the overall win again. So if you're Seth Carr, just keep it as close as possible. Hope for a late mistake out of Tharp, and it changes the overalls completely. Oh, Tharp, front wheel kind of knifed into that rut. I feel like Carr's bringing this gap down 6.5 seconds. I think he's just kind of maybe throwing caution to the wind, saying, I have to win this moto to win the overall, so I might as well just do everything possible to try to make that a reality. And honestly, good on him. He's got it down to 5.4. He's still got 2 seconds back to Shirley. And if he crashes, Matherly dealing with lappers, if he crashes, he would still pick it up in 3rd at worst. So why not? That a lapped rider right there? Yes, it is. The white flag about to wave for Braden Tharp out front, I should say. There it is. Trying to hold on and win the second moto here at Hangtown. And Seth Carr is going to try everything he can to close this gap down and win this race and win the overall with it. 4.8, 17.6 last time by. So he's 2 seconds faster, but he needs to find 4 seconds somehow. Or maybe just, I guess the plan could be to get close enough to Tharp that Tharp starts riding a little bit harder to maintain the gap, and then he makes a mistake because of it. Because, I mean, Carr has really gotten close. Certainly within the picture frame a little bit more now, too. But Tharp, oh, smooth on the inside landing right there. Carr is absolutely flying. 3 seconds now, the gap. Gonna push so hard down this hill to the outside, and you can't fault him for this effort, the level in which that he's trying to win this race, and he goes down. Front end bounce 2 times too many, and down he goes. Shirley will move back into 3rd place, or will he? No, he was actually down. So Matherly gonna be pretty close to Shirley here as Seth Carr picks it back up again, but Tharp has a comfortable gap. And for the time being, it looks like it will be the 1-4 of Matherly to get it done. And then Seth Carr's 4-2 should be enough for second, and maybe this 5-3 out of Shirley would be enough for third. Be really actually pretty tight with that 113, now that I think about it. And then Chwalik went 2-5. So actually Chwalik would be, with this 5th place result, would be on the box ahead of Shirley. So that would be 3rd place for Chwalik as it runs. But they all ended up chasing this man in Moto 2, Braden Tharp. As chaotic as this race ended up being, Tharp fully delivered when the crunch time came around, and he needed to beat both of those guys in a straight-up battle. He passed them both. He pulled away. He let the chaos ensue behind them, and he turns a 13th in the first moto into a win in the second one. Braden Tharp takes Moto 2 here at Hangtown. Seth Carr is going to come down and will secure second overall on the day with a 4-2 ride, but he'll be disappointed not to have claimed the overall. Shirley picks up third, and Cade Matherly has won the Hangtown National with 1-4 results. It might even be 1-3 depending on penalties. Oh, and Chwalik has lost out on 5th place, I should say. So what will this do for the overalls? And actually he's not going to lose another spot. Curious though what this does for the overalls, because 2-6, that would be 38 points, and 3-5 would be 38 points as well. No, it would be 36 points for 3-5 and 37 points, I should say, for 6. Oh, so he still gets third overall. Gosh, these guys are all over the place. Trent Adams, it's like he'll get P8. Luke Fowler holds on to a top 10 result. 9th place for Fowler. Great effort on the 82. And Colin Allen, who we did not see almost once this moto, on the box in the first moto, but looks like he will pick it up in 10th now in Moto 2. Hayden Stevenson, 11th. Logan Leitzel's going to go 6-12 today, and really hope that this is the worst round of the season for him, because he needs a huge turnaround next week at Thunder Valley to stay in the title fight before this thing gets out of hand. Hayden Speck, 13th. Brett Powers with a solid ride. He's 14th in this one. Alex Zellner, 15th. Quinault with Alec Horn coming to the line, battling for 16th. Alec Horn goes down. Quinault's going to get it. Paolini's going to move to 17th because he's going around Alec Horn, who was down. Ben Seberg was down in 19th. And he'll pick it up. He's the last guy on the lead lap. And the first rider a lap down was Tanner Rogers, who picks up 20th. And kudos to him, because he was, I think, like 37th at one point in this moto. So to get a point, nice ride for Mr. Rogers. So let's wait for those penalties to come in and decide how the overalls go. All right, here we go. Final corner. Right there, Seberg is going to cross the line. Penalties are in, and our top 5 stay the exact same running order. Looks like Fowler got 8th on Trent Adams. And the rest stayed the same. So, overall winner, Cade Matherly, getting it done with the 1-4. He wins the Hangtown National and MX Simulator. Congratulations to the 25 machine. Valiant ride, and I believe his second career overall win. Might be his third, actually, now I think of it. But awesome way for the Twizzy, number 25, to put it on the top step here today in the 250 class. All right. So now we have just got one more moto left to run. Jumping back in studio with you guys, Kellen Brower in the booth. One more moto still to run tonight. We have 450 Moto 2 coming up, going to take us all the way pretty much to the top of the hour. So 3.5 straight hours of coverage here at Start Your Systems. No commercial breaks here. We bring you guys all the action live. And if you like the coverage, it's not required, but if you like it, a donation does help us out quite a bit. So we don't fill it full of commercials. We don't leave halfway through the moto and do commercial breaks. We bring it all live so you guys can watch it all. And yeah, good stuff. So Cade Matherly gets the dub going 1-4. Unofficially, it will be Second overall there for Seth Carr on the 4-2, and Max Chwalik goes 2-6 for third overall, just narrowly beating out Seth Carr's 5-3. So let's pull up our 450 Moto 1 results and tell you guys what happened there. You might remember that Payson Johnson got the win, but you may not remember that Alexis Leclerc was right behind him at the flag. In fact, it was only 3 seconds, pretty much exactly at the flag, that Leclerc was down. Tyler Lang finished up in third with Jeremy Seabolt in fourth, Braden Carter in fifth, Pablo Vial sixth, Cooper Hunt seventh with Colby Eagland in eighth, and then Trevor Burns with Luke Sullivan rounding out our top 10. Behind that, Walter Gebhardt, Caleb Hall, Enzo Buttigny, Brayden Castellaneta, Ethan Gerst, Aaron Rockefeller, Adam Holm, Austin Schaefer, Jacob Hubbard, Kevin Ferzaka, down through the order there, giving you guys the points scorers from 450 Moto number 1. And remember, folks, if you're at home, hydrate. Any other questions from chat tonight before we go racing for 450 Moto 2? We're hanging out in the booth one final time, and then we'll drop the gates to finish this evening off in style. Hopefully we get another banger race like we saw in that 450 Moto. Trevor Burns getting out front, Payson Johnson in the mix. I think we had Hubbard hole shot. Where did Hubbard end up in that moto? 19th. So 19th after hole shotting. Never fun. I'm wondering what the great Kellen thinks. Does Jet win Hangtown? Honestly, I think so. Hangtown's never really been his specialty, but it hasn't been Chase's either. So, I mean, I don't know what you say about that. Maybe Ferrandis is a lot better this week, because I know Hangtown he's been pretty good at in the past. Oh, whole shot guess. Thank you, Alex, for that. I'm gonna go this time. I'm gonna go Lang. Tyler Lang for whole shot, I think, this time around. See if T Lang can put it up front on the 5. Caleb Hall, Payson Johnson doing backflips down the hill. Ethan Gerst, Walter Gebhardt, Marchini, Hunt. What's up, typical Canadian? Who won Moto 1? 450 Moto 1 was Payson Johnson. Alexis Leclerc second, Tyler Lang third, with Jeremy Seabolt and Braden Carter rounding out the top 5. So it sets us up for a great Moto 2. I might have to do a little bit of research. That might be the first time ever that all the champions in the field finished 1 through 5. So Johnson, reigning 450 national champion. Leclerc, four-time outdoor champion. Lang, 2021 national champion. Seabolt, 2020 Supercross champion. And then Carter, 3-time Supercross champion, were 1 through 5 in that race. And they're all, except Seabolt, single digits. So it might be the first time that's ever happened. I'm trying to think. It's specifically 450 champions, right? Nobody else in the field has won a North American 450 championship other than those 5. So that's a pretty stacked top 5 right there. Who wins first, Dylan in 450 or Deegan in 250? I'm gonna say Dylan in 450. Deegan was great at Fox Raceway, don't get me wrong. I don't think that necessarily carries through at each round. I think he'll be 4 to 7 a lot. I don't think that means that he's going to be race-winning speed every week. Like, he literally, Fox Raceway was like his backyard for like the first 15 years of his life. So, yeah, just saying. I feel like that's a little bit skewed to say that he was not having a little home track advantage. All right, here we go, folks. Time to drop the gate on the final moto of the night. Well, Hubbard hole shot in the first moto, so maybe we'll check him out again, but it's time to pick an overall winner. Let's drop the gate for the final moto from Hangtown. Hubbard, pretty good jump. Lang let me down. I should have picked Hubbard. It's going to be Jacob Hubbard, Studio 8, hole shot. Carter into the second corner, takes the race lead. Caleb Hall comes through. He's now in the 2 right on the 39. Hubbard right there in third still, and a few crashes going in and out of that second corner, so we'll have to see where some of our heavy hitters end up. Looks like Eagland, another terrible start for the 24. So it's Carter, Hall, Hubbard, Marchini, Blakely, Butigny at the front of the field with Gummison. You also have Lang with a good start. I see Sullivan up there. I see the 93 of Rockefeller, but going down is Lang and a few other riders going with. I did not see the red plates of Johnson squeak through. If I did not see it, I missed it. Leclerc is also buried back here. There it is. Okay, so Johnson did get through. He's in about 10th. But they're all chasing this man. 3-time Moto Option Supercross champion Braden Carter on the first lap of the uphill rollers leads the field through. Dropping back down. So Carter has twice this year been in the lead of the race and had the opportunity to try to sneak away when not his main competitors were close. So curious to see if this time it works out a little bit differently. And a quick shout out in the chat room, Alex Efforts, for the $5 donation. I really appreciate the support. And he says, thanks for the continued work and streams, but honestly, can't thank all of you guys every single week for showing up and making these races possible. Without the fans, this really wouldn't be streamed to anybody. So you guys are the reason why we do it week in and week out. And hopefully we provide some solid coverage here of the RaceFactory Gaming National Championship in MX Simulator. So Hubbard now settling into second place. He has just gotten around Caleb Hall as Johnson is already in 6th. Trying to see where Leclerc maybe is, or Lang on the running order. Leclerc up to 12th. So Leclerc making some good inroads early in this race. As we watch Hubbard out of the second corner. Lang already up to 15th. So, yeah, most of these guys finding their groove early enough to make some good early passes. As there is Hall, Marchini, Butigny, and then here comes Johnson from 6th spot. I do have a Streamlabs link of Mr. Saru. It is in the description. Unfortunate part is I don't think I see... Well, actually, it will come through... If you do it through Streamlabs, it should come through on my display over here on my left, but I don't know if I'll see it in chat. Oh, big scrub from Johnson, putting the pressure on Butigny. All under attack from Marchini. A few different battles happening simultaneously here. Marchini's going to pass Butigny, and Johnson's going to try to squeak the inside as well. Not going to get there, though. Great train right here, though. Look at all these guys and how close they are. Hubbard kind of sneaking away from this group with Carter still leading, obviously, but man, Marchini wants a piece of third place right here on Caleb Hall as he goes down the inside, and Hall is going to go down. Johnson able to skirt around the outside of him, but not going to get the preferred option line through here, as Caleb Hall will still get it. But that's okay. Johnson kind of scrubs his way out, maintains a decent position. Butigny now going after Marchini. To the outside goes Enzo Butigny on the 485. Both kind of slide into the corner, different lines through this next corner. Launching out to flat. Here comes Johnson. Outside to in at the finish line, but stands it up in the rut so doesn't get the drive out. And Hubbard, for what it's worth, is going back after Carter. We just made a mistake, but it was down under a second momentarily. So our race leader continues to be Braden Carter, but Hubbard kind of has a different plan this moto. He looks fired up. And Nico Marchini coming into view in third with Butigny fourth and Johnson rounding out the top 5. That is your front group at the current status of this race, as Johnson had to peek up the inside, but not able to make the move just yet. Eagland, good inroads. He's already up to 16th. So Ware and Burns, this time not a great start for him. He is 19th. Outside move for Johnson, gets it done on Butigny. Up into 4th place. Next up, Nico Marchini in third, as Johnson is on a tear right now. He seems fired up to get it done. Marchini a mistake. Johnson, first pass I think I've seen anyone make on that inside line all night. And Johnson just gets the power down and planted going up the hill. Wow, Seabolt, who was fourth in our first moto, is 35th right now. Hate to see that. So Marchini loses a position to Johnson. And Johnson now finds himself in third place, about 3 seconds back of Hubbard. So where is everybody else? There's Hall and Leclerc starting to inch up on Caleb Hall, so he's getting right into the mix. And Cooper Hunt, who was strong in the first moto, Aaron Rockefeller, and Lang has made solid efforts forward. He's already into the top 10. So we're starting to see that mainstay kind of four-rider group work their way forward, and now Lang's going to get stuck on a SpongeBob. Got to back down, lose a position in the process to Brandon Cocroft of Fluid Racing. So Leclerc around Caleb Hall. Next up for him would be Boutigny and Marchini, but I feel like you just got to keep an eye on what Payson Johnson's going to do. 209 flat last time by. I will say the one thing that sticks out to me about Payson Johnson above everybody else, I mean, his corner speed is good. I would say that everybody else has corner speed similarly on par, but what Johnson has that must be setup related to some degree, but also is just really good movement on the sticks, is exit speed out of corners is unbelievable. It reminds me a lot of Eli Tomac, where maybe the corner isn't always pretty. Maybe he's just kind of hammering it in there. But the drive that Johnson's able to get off of the rear tire is incredible. And it has to be a mix of setup and a mix of finesse on the sticks as well. Like you're kind of half leaning back coming out of every corner to get that rear tire to push down just a little bit more. But that's clearly where he's making his difference a lot of the time, is exit speed. Top of the hill. Ooh, lays the front end a little bit right there. Oh, that's not going to help. Too far on landing and immediately goes over the ruts and off. Is Leclerc going to get here, actually? As Boutigny comes into frame, Leclerc will not get to Johnson. But that certainly changes the complexion of this race a little bit, because these guys are starting to get to the point now where they're giving Carter a rather substantial advantage, 14 seconds, and they're the ones that have to push to catch him. So Carter, if he can just maintain a solid standing and keep his position, I mean, this could be a big moto win for Carter if he's able to hold on too. Oh, Marchini on the inside of the track right there lands. That is going to go through the front door, and Johnson will repass him to move into third place. So got to go get Hubbard again, and then Carter. But if you're Leclerc, you can sense an opportunity here, knowing that Johnson is not too far up the road, finished just behind him in Moto 1, and arguably we're going faster than him late in the Moto, as Marchini jumps off the right side of the track, and therefore that is another position, and Leclerc moves Boutigny aside to move up into fourth. 2:11.1 last time by. Oh, I think Carter just went down out of the lead. He did. Hubbard has taken over the point here. So not sure what happened to Braden Carter or where it was, but ooh, he's still tripling into the rollers right there. But his teammate Hubbard has taken over the lead. And this is a far cry from what we saw to Hubbard in the first moto, who hole shot and immediately went backwards, finished 19th. This time around, hole shot, did lose the lead right away to his teammate Carter, but then stuck with him for 2 laps. And now has slowly caught and now repassed him thanks to a crash out of Carter, of course. But that is a completely different version of Jacob Hubbard in this moto. I don't know what it was in the first moto that he didn't feel. Maybe he had a setup change. As I say that, he goes down. So Carter back to the lead. Johnson through to second. And Leclerc going to come into frame right here just behind these guys now in fourth. Buttigny, Hunt, Marchini, Hall, and then T-Lang, who's starting to march forward once again. Leclerc trying to size up a maneuver on his teammate, Jacob Hubbard. And as it was the district guys all at the front of the field in the first moto, it's now the Phil Ski and Snowboard Kawasaki's 1-3-4 at the moment. But sandwiched between them, stuffing in an Oreo cookie, is Pace and Johnson. And I feel like Johnson would like to wait not too much longer to just charge after Braden Carter for the race lead. Uh-oh, little slide out though. Small mistakes creeping in already. Blair outside line, laid in, trying to get the power down. Not close enough. Oh, and Johnson was down. So now it's a Phil's 1-2-3 with Johnson picking it up in fourth. And Leclerc suddenly is ahead of Johnson for the first time all day. And as I say that, he slides out and Johnson hits him coming off the hill. Leclerc picked it up and gassed it forward. He had to know Johnson was coming. Seems a little bit much for Leclerc to gas it as Johnson comes across, but I don't know. That was certainly weird. So now it is District 2-3 with, or 4-3 I should say, because Carter still leads from Hubbard. And there is Johnson and his teammate Cooper Hunt. Now Leclerc and Marchini behind them. So now we get to see Johnson go back to work again. I feel like when you watch Pace and Johnson ride, it's basically what your brain thinks you're doing when you're riding well. You're like, yeah, I'm hitting all my marks, I'm flowing my corners, I'm laying into them smooth. And then you go back and watch it and you're 7 seconds a lap slower. And you're like, I don't get it. And Johnson's just going so fast everywhere. Unbelievable. So Carter out front, to his credit, despite that lone crash, has really done a good job at kind of just maintaining a similar pace, I would say. It's not that he's going way fast, but he's going fast enough to maintain a solid gap at the front, and that's critical. As Leclerc is now catching back up to Cooper Hunt in a battle that would be for fourth. Let's go back a little bit further, though. There's Marchini in sixth. Tyler Lang is now seventh. Colby Eaglin has come from 34th to 8th in a half distance of a race. Pretty impressive stuff. Buttigny 9th and Caleb Hall rounding out the top 10, but here comes Pablo Vial around the outside. Not able to make it happen, so Hall stays, for the time being at least, in 10th. And Vial right behind there trying to sneak into the top 10. Gerst is 12th. Rzaka 14th. Rockefeller 15th. Burns has clawed his way to 15th, and he goes down as I say that. Connor Holiak is going to hit him and goes down. It really shows you right here how off camber that section is that, like, it looked like Holiak had plenty of time to stop, but he was basically falling down the hill onto him the whole time. Adam Holm, Anthony Pachone, just seeing where a few of these guys are at. Castellaneta, Schaefer, Walter Gebhardt, tough start for him this moto, and then he's got Bryce Whelan right behind him. Chase Blakely got through as well. Just seeing kind of where everyone else is at. And now the battle for second is on as we move back forward. Here comes Payson Johnson on Jacob Hubbard in a battle for second place. And is he able to make quick work? Well, Hubbard's going to say, how about I just launch out to flat and make it so you at least stay behind me for this corner. Can't square me up at the finish line jump. Good, sir. Side move for Hubbard, outside for Johnson, and Hubbard slides out of the corner coming through, so Johnson just launches way past him and moves up into second place. The lap time check real quick. 2:10.5 last time by. He's 11 seconds down, and a 2:12.3 for Carter, so 2 seconds a lap faster. If this keeps up, he would catch him in 5 laps or so. But obviously this is a completely different scenario when you have the lead in second place, because I feel like Carter is going to start to feel the pressure close from Payson Johnson a little bit, and then if you're Carter, maybe you pick up the pace just a few notches to make sure that the gap tries to at least maintain some level. You don't let it come down to 5 and 4 and 3 and 2, 1 seconds like that. You just keep it above 6 seconds, above 7 seconds if possible. Johnson's just doing what he does, though, man. Hitting his marks. So here we go. Leclerc now on Cooper Hunt, and they are pushing up to Jacob Hubbard in a hurry. Alec Horn in chat says he just spoke to Carter. Carter has major arm pump and will go down in 2 laps as Leclerc inside. Johnson was down. Johnson was just down at a second again, and Leclerc, who was on his way to passing Hunt anyway, gets a twofer, goes up to third, and it's a Phil's 1, 2, 3 again. So Johnson, every time he makes a few kind of steps forward, he takes 4 steps back, I feel like. So now Johnson and Leclerc are set to exchange fisticuffs in a battle for third place, as they're still just behind Jacob Hubbard. But I feel like Leclerc would prefer to go past Hubbard first before dealing with Payson Johnson. And he might just size it up and make that happen as soon as possible. Maybe like right now. All over the 78 for second place. And then outside to in move maybe works. Not just yet. Carter is sneaking away in this race, though, I'll tell you. Oh, this is turning into a gnarly 3-rider battle in a hurry. Claire so badly wants to get around Hubbard before he has to deal with Johnson, but I think he's going to have to deal with Johnson before that happens. And he will, because Johnson ripped that corner outside to in move for Johnson. Actually, outside move all around for Johnson, and he gets it anyway because Leclerc went down. So he forced Leclerc into a mistake, and now Johnson is going to go outside at the bottom of the hill to just pass Hubbard anyway. And so just as Leclerc was about to finally break free and get Hubbard and move in a second, he instead goes down, and Johnson takes full advantage to move into P2 again. So now Johnson, 13 seconds back, has to stop crashing, or else Carter's going to win this moto. But Carter's 5th in Moto 1 makes it pretty difficult based on the talent in this top 5 group to win the overall, because Johnson obviously right now on a 1-2 would win the overall. Johnson again, that same mistake in that corner. Now Johnson finally picking it back up a little bit and inching away from Hubbard. Cooper Hunt is coming with Johnson like every step of the way. He's more or less followed him for the last 4 laps, and he's not right on him anymore, but he's still kind of in his wake as he lays a trail ahead. And again, Johnson is down. Unbelievable. The crashes just keep happening, and I think Leclerc was down again, maybe? Or was he just down for a longer period of time or something like that? Because now he's 4 seconds behind Johnson. When he originally crashed, he was ahead of him. So I don't know what happened to Leclerc. So we are once again having this case of musical chairs to decide an overall winner, as Cooper Hunt absolutely destroys that inside rut to pass Jacob Hubbard and move into second place. I mean, Braden Carter is on his way to a pretty simple moto win at this point because these guys keep shuffling around behind him. I mean, Cooper Hunt might be in position to finally make something happen. Tyler Lang trying to close up on Marchini. Eaglin's still 8th. Vial up into 9th. And Hall rounds out the top 10. So I guess really the battles are what's going on up here. Whatever happens between these guys, as Johnson once again is on Hubbard. This time it's for 3rd place. And once again he's going to pass him in the same spot he passed him the last time through. If you're Hubbard, you're just like, come on, dude. Figure it out. Either get going or crash again or something. Just get out of here, dude. Now Johnson 17 seconds down after crashing again, and still has all that time to try to make up. Cooper Hunt, a mistake, and Johnson takes advantage to move into second place again. So, in the span of a lap, he's gone from 2nd back to 4th and back to 2nd. And now is looking at a 16-second deficit to try to catch Braden Carter. But again, Carter can control his destiny here by matching a similar pace to what he's comfortable with and forcing Johnson to push the pace to catch him, which Johnson thus far has proven will cause him to crash multiple times. So, if you're Johnson, like, again, you probably have the pace to catch Carter outright. You'll probably crash doing it, though. So, do you just settle at this point? Or do you really push the pace and hope Carter has another crash? Like that almost right there. I don't know. I feel like Johnson never really gives up and will always basically do qualifying laps until the race is over. So Carter out front is just trying to hit his marks. Not look at the pit board, not think about who's behind him, not think about the gap whatsoever either. And instead, just do laps. It's all you can do. You got a guy like Payson Johnson trying to close the gap down. Because if you make a mistake, you just open the door of opportunity wide open. Right now, it's pretty well closed, especially because Johnson just went down again, pushing on the uphill. And somehow, some way, as many times as Johnson keeps crashing, Leclerc isn't there. I don't know what Leclerc is doing. He's totally butchering his opportunities right here. It's so interesting to me that Sevtian in chat keeps talking about how important graphics are for big tournaments. When, like, literally one of the biggest tournaments in the entire gaming sphere is Super Smash Bros. 2001. I don't even know. As Cooper Hunt was down again. Good tournaments are not derived from graphics. Period. As once again, we are seeing Payson Johnson have to pass Jacob Hubbard with a nice dually scrub down the inside, though. Not going to get him that time. Inside again for Johnson. Hubbard fighting back. Tired of getting passed by Johnson, who's going down again. Oh my gosh, Payson. What are you doing? And here goes Leclerc on by. So, hey, whoa, now Payson repays the favor. Leclerc darted in front of Johnson earlier in this moto, getting up from a crash, and now Johnson repaying the favor. Do we have some potential fisticuffs to be had here? And Hubbard picking it up from a crash is going to have a world of chaos surrounding him shortly, as Johnson and Leclerc are set to battle. Oh, Johnson doesn't get that line clean, and Hubbard, sick of losing spots to Johnson, is going to finally repass him on merit. Oh, and Johnson gets into the back tire of Hubbard, which really was all on Johnson right there. He just started hooking right on the end of the straightaway when he knew Hubbard was swooping in from the outside. So Payson's starting to crumble a little bit here late in this moto, and we have to bring up the topic of discussion here a little bit that... oh, and Johnson's down again. Lang is going to go by, and Eaglin is not far behind. This is starting to teeter into the territory where Braden Carter could pick up an overall victory. He is now on points ahead of Johnson with a 5-1, which is good enough for 41 points. But because Leclerc is sitting on a 2-3 right now, he is on 42 points, which is enough to win the overall as it stands with a 2-3 scores. But Carter on a 5-1 is second overall, only 1 point off a shot at winning the overall here today. If Leclerc gets passed again, Carter would win the overall. And Hubbard's still pretty close, and Lang has been coming all moto as Eaglin now dealing with Payson Johnson. Johnson gets back around Eaglin and then makes a mistake and jumps off the right side of the track. I think we're at that level where Johnson is riding frustrated and pushing too hard, and he's got to be careful because another crash puts Marchini ahead of him, and then you're falling back to Vial and Hall if you crash again. So you just got to settle down, ride your laps, ride your pace, and not keep making these mistakes as Leclerc has moved into second place. And another thing to consider here is Leclerc, with this 2-2 performance and potential overall win, would also move into the championship lead. He was down 1 point on Johnson coming in, but he's going to leave here about 3 up, I think, as it stands. So Leclerc, for as up and down in this moto has been, to come through and finish second, this feels very Payson Johnson last week-ish for Leclerc, where Johnson didn't win either moto. He went 2-2. He won the overall. He was arguably the fastest rider on the track several times. He kept making either little mistakes when he'd get up front, or he would have terrible starts and have to come from the back, which Leclerc this time around did in the second moto. So, yeah, I guess Leclerc is just having a bit of a similar week, and we're about to start the season here with back-to-back 2-2 overall wins. At the opening round, we saw Leclerc and Eaglin split the motos. And then this week, Johnson won his first moto of the season. And now Carter's on his way to winning his first moto of the season. And we're about to have the 4th different moto winner to start 2023 RaceFactory Gaming Nationals. Pretty incredible start to the season at the way things have gone thus far. But also, it's really cool to see that it's working out this way also. And, you know, Tyler Lang has looked strong. He certainly stands a chance as being a moto winner. I'd love to see Pablo Vial win a moto this year. And you talk about maybe 6 different moto winners in 22 races this year. Be a lot of fun if that's the kind of series we get and the parity involved. There's T. Lang. And Johnson starting to reel back into Lang just a little bit. Is this too little too late, though? He's got 3 laps to try to make it happen on T. Lang. But he has to get to Hubbard up ahead of that to win the overall. I guess the caveat is if he does get to Lang, he and Leclerc would be tied on points for the championship, I think. I think I'm doing that math right. He is currently on 39 points today. Leclerc is on 44. If he gets to Lang, no, he's on 40 points for today. So if he gets to Lang, it'd be 41. So he would be 2 back of Leclerc leaving. But if he gets to Hubbard, they would be tied. So this is a crucial set of few passes here for Johnson. Rider down. Who is it? It is, was that Cooper Hunt? No, it was not. Or was it? No, it was not. I'm confused who that was. It looked exactly like Cooper Hunt. So Johnson has 2 riders right in front of him that are controlling his own destiny a little bit. If he can get into 4th place here, though, that 1-4 would be enough to be tied with Leclerc for the championship leaving this round. But he would not win the overall. Leclerc's 2-2 would get it to Johnson's 1-4. Battle for 4th place is officially on. He has caught Lang for 5th, and they are both on Hubbard for 4th. And he's going to get Lang splitting a lapper and moving through. And so it clearly appears that Payson has cleaned it all up. And just like that, he's going to scoot up the inside of Hubbard again. And go down again. Yes, he is off the bike. So just as he had moved back into a dead tie for this championship lead, crashes again. And Eaglin's coming up on him like, dude, what is happening out here? Lang is going to try to get Hubbard, though. Lang on the 5, trying to get around the 78 of Hubbard late in this moto. We're coming up to the white flag next time through. Rider down, but it is not a rider for a position. It is a lapped rider, and I can't tell where they were either. Leclerc still has Cooper Hunt pretty close to him. Not out of the water just yet. That's the gap right there, but Hunt just made a small mistake. Now made a big mistake. That's going to cost him a lot of time. And Lang has gotten around Hubbard for 4th. So Lang sitting on 3-4 scores. We'll do overalls, tally him afterwards. As Hubbard just went down, is Johnson going to get there? No, Eagland will get there. Where is Johnson? Johnson now back behind Eagland again and down again. Pablo Vial going to be coming up soon. And Johnson throwing this thing away in a big way. White flag now for Braden Carter out front. Unbelievable. This race has packed so many punches, and what we're going to see is our 4th different moto winner of the year, our 2nd different overall winner of the year, and a new championship leader. Catch the fever, folks. RaceFactory Gaming Nationals will be here all year long, and I feel like this 450 class is far from over in terms of what it's able to provide. I know a lot of people feel that this is Johnson's title to lose, and you can easily say so because he is the defending champion. Gosh, the speed he possesses is unreal. But we have seen tonight what happens when Johnson has bad races, and it goes from bad to bad to bad to bad to bad to bad, just over and over again, crashing aplenty. And Braden Carter Not an outdoor guy. Not an outdoor guy. They say it over and over again. Doesn't win outdoor races. Can't contend. Forget about all that. He was solid at the opener. He was on the podium. Little rough in the first moto today, but still 5th. Still good points. And now he is on his way to a big breakthrough moto win where, hey, do we start saying, wait a minute, Braden Carter is an outdoor guy and he is in this title hunt and here to stay. It's not going to be enough for the overall win today, but it is going to be a lot in terms of good championship points and confidence building towards potentially running through for this title fight in 2023 to get the sweep this year. No one swept indoors and out since Leclerc back in 2018. Braden Carter taking a big step here today as he's going to come through and win 450 Moto 2 and backflips over the line at Hangtown. But your overall winner today and the new championship leader when this race is said and done, Alexis Leclerc, takes the Hangtown National in MX Simulator. Cooper Hunt finishes up 3rd this moto, 7-3 scores on the day. Tyler Lang is going to go 3-4 today. Great ride for the 2021 champ. And Hubbard launching behind him, trying to hold on ahead of Eagland, who closed the gap down late, but it will be Hubbard who hangs on for 5th. Eagland crosses the line 6th. Vial did get around Johnson, who went down again. He will get 7th, and Johnson is going to go 1-8 today, which might not make the podium. Rough stretch for the champ, and he will see those red backgrounds disappear on his machine. He's going to instant disconnect, I'd have to imagine. Nope, actually lands and wheelies off the track, so front flip up the hill. Barcini finishes up in 9th, and Caleb Hall finishes the race up in 10th. Oh, Siebel down in 11th. He had done a great job to claw his way back there, but he will retain 11th because Kevin Brzak is too far back. So 4-11 day for Jeremy Siebel. Brzaka, like he's got 12th pretty well under wraps. Castellaneta here, 13th, just a little bit ahead of Blakely in 14th. Didn't talk too much about these guys, but good to see Blakely turn it around. He was back in the field early on in the moto, so 14th is pretty good. Gebhardt, up and down day so far for him. 11th in the first moto, 15th in this one, but he was battling in the front in that first moto, so he's going to be disappointed with those scores. Bertigny as well, another weird day because he was in the mix off the start of this one. He was 4th, 5th, slipped all the way now back to 16th. Connor Holiak is going to get 17th. Ethan Gersh should pick up 18th. Austin Schaefer on his way to 19th, and he was the last guy on the lead lap as Anthony Pachone picks up the final point with a 20th place result. And now we about to put Hangtown to bed. Holiak gets leaped over by Ethan Gerst. But into the final corner, it will be Gerst who picks up 17th with a beautiful last-ditch effort right there. Wow, Butigny leapfrog Gebhardt for 15th. Any other big changes up the order? Nope, but it is Carter with the race victory and Leclerc with the overall, and get used to, or I should say goodbye to those white backgrounds. The Phil Ski and Snowboard Kawasaki number 7 machine is going to have some red plates when we head to Thunder Valley next week as the 4-time champ assumes the championship lead in the 450 class. And that will do it, as they say. Round 2 of RaceFactory Gaming Nationals is complete from Hangtown. 2 rounds in, 9 still to go. And we have a new championship leader in the 450 class, and we have a retained championship leader, I think, in the 250 class. But we'll have to see. It's going to be interesting to take a look at those 250 results. They usually tally up championship points a little bit after the event, so we're not going to be able to get into them right now. But we'll bring it back to you guys next week when we jump on the broadcast to kick off the Thunder Valley National from Lakewood, Colorado next week. Same time, same place, now live here only on Start Your Systems. Don't go anywhere else. We'll be right here on Start Your Systems all year long. And yeah, we'll be live 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern next week for that Thunder Valley National, where Alexis Leclerc leads the field in, coming off of this big win tonight here at Hangtown. So one final shout out, of course, to RaceFactory Gaming and the RFG track crew for putting together a great racetrack for us here tonight. A lot of fun, a lot of drama, and hopefully we get another banger next week at Thunder Valley. And thank you as well to all the people in the chat for tuning in every single week. Thank you guys so much for your continued support of our broadcasts. And we hope to see you for all remaining 9 rounds of this championship, as well as when we come back next week for the Thunder Valley National. So I'm going to send you guys on your way, and hope you have a lovely day and a lovely end to your evening and a lovely weekend as well as we head into the real life Hangtown National. But for Kellen Brower here at Start Your Systems and all of us that put on the work behind the scenes, thanks so much for tuning in to the Hangtown MX Simulator National, and we'll see you next week in Thunder Valley. So long for now.